This was prior his customer.
He slandered me.
He called you a thief?
Yeah.
But you were.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Cleaning company owner Matthew Jaden is suing his former employee, Lugina Horoschek, for stealing clientele from his company.
Order. All rise. It's case number 118 on the calendar in the matter of Jaden versus Horoschek.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Jaden, you are the owner of a cleaning service.
Yes.
And you started that cleaning service as a young man.
Yeah.
How long ago?
Approximately 7-ish years ago, around there.
Is that your only business?
No.
What other businesses do you have?
Well, I'm currently a holistic physician.
What kind of training do you do to become a holistic physician?
So I had to go to a school of naturopathy and study holistic medicine.
Where?
Okay, I went to Trinity.
For how long?
It was a 4-year program.
And you graduated when?
I graduated about 2 years ago, and that's in Royal Oak, Michigan, by the way. I also practice in, it's called Holistic. It's a new medical office in Royal Oak, Michigan as well. So I'm in 2 separate places as well.
In addition to this cleaning service, you have 2 medical practices. How many people do you employ in the cleaning service part of your business?
On average, usually I keep around 6-7 employees total.
And how much do you pay them an hour?
They're usually depending on experience, but usually it's around 12 to 17 an hour.
And how much do you charge your customers per hour?
Depending on what they need done, if it's a post-construction cleanup or if it's
It's just a regular cleanup.
If it's just a regular, 55
Weekly.
an hour for 2 people.
55 an hour for 2 people.
Yeah, so it's $27.50 per hour per cleaner. 2 people is $55
No,
an hour.
we're going to go slowly.
Sorry about
Slowly.
that. All right.
$12 to $17 an hour
Right.
is what you pay your employees.
Right.
And you bill your customer for regular cleaning. How much an hour?
It's $55 an hour.
It's your claim that the defendant breached a contract with you who had worked for you. When did the defendant start to work for you?
Lugina started working for me. It was approximately September of 2017.
Did you have a written agreement with her?
Yes.
May I see it, please? Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you, Bird. Do you have a signed contract of hers?
I did have a signed contract, and it somehow mysteriously disappeared. It's in the open with all the supplies, but she did sign an agreement, but we also did have a verbal agreement as well.
Would you give this back to him?
Sure.
That may be a contract,
Take a step over.
but it's not her contract because it's neither signed by you nor her. Okay, so now you want to tell me, Mr. Jaden, that you had an oral agreement with her. And what was the oral agreement you had with her?
The moment she starts working for me to the end, until 3 years after she stops, she cannot take any of my, or solicit any of my customers or take any of my clients whatsoever. For that belongs to the company.
Do you recall having that conversation with him?
No, Your Honor.
Well, tell me what conversation you had with him when you started to work for him,
He
if you
told
remember.
me when I started working for him, if I don't touch his customers, and as I knew it was 6 months.
What do you mean as you
After
knew it?
6 months of the customer leaving him, I cannot touch that customer till 6 months afterwards.
Okay. Mr. Jaden, what client do you allege that Miss Horoschek took from you?
Okay. So I have...
The name of the client.
The client is Hal.
Is Mr. here? Did the defendant work for?
Several. I mean, she...
Many.
She did at least... she did around 2-3 jobs per day. So 2-3 houses every single day, 5 days a week.
And the one person that you allege that she took from you is this Hal.
Correct.
Now, it's up to you to prove that to me.
Okay, so I'm going to prove it to you right now. So Hal was a regular with me for approximately, it was about 3 years-ish, around there, that we were servicing him every 2 weeks. He would pay $110 every 2 weeks, and we would go there. You know, and that would obviously add up to be, you know, quite a bit per year. But anyways, what ended up happening was that they developed a relationship with Hal. And so, you know, he was involved with their
Who's
church. Lugina and her husband.
Okay, so the
They told me
defendant...
they-
Shh.
Sorry.
So the defendant and Mr. Noonan developed a friendly relationship outside of their business relationship
Right.
through church and whatever.
Right. So,
I mean, that's hearsay unless you know that, unless she discussed it with you. But let's say that happened. And?
Right. And what ended up happening was that this is how I found out, was I have a key witness that lived with Lugina.
You have what?
I have a key witness here with me that lived with Lugina. She started working for me in January, roughly, of this year.
Okay.
You know, that's Alexis. She's sitting right here.
That would be you?
Yes.
Yes.
And you live with her?
I did at the time.
Okay.
Nancy?
Tell me what you know about Hal and the defendant.
Well, I've known the defendant, Lugina, since I was about 13 years old. I've lived with her on and off over the years. She has her own cleaning company called Rosemaids.
No, don't look down.
Oh, sorry.
Look up here.
I just started cleaning with Matt, and we were just having a conversation generally, and I had said one of Lugina's clients named Hal. I had no idea that this was prior his customer. Me and Lugina cleaned his house under her company, and we got paid. I had no idea at the time that it was Matthew's customer, or a previous customer.
In what month and year was this?
This was like the first week of April of this year.
And you started to work for him in what year?
17, sorry.
And when did you stop working for him? Month
Trying to think.
It was May.
of 2019?
Yes.
And you and the defendant cleaned Hal's house together, but under her company?
Correct, under Rosemaids.
Okay. Did she pay you?
We both got paid from Hal.
How much did you get paid?
I believe I got paid $50. We were there a couple hours.
Does that sound familiar to you?
It was 45, yes.
Well,
Your Honor.
do you want to explain to me then how that happened? Because even under your best case scenario, Miss Hart, you started to work for Hal while you were under his employ, and as far as you told me, your agreement with him was that you would not, for 6 months after you left, work for any of his clients, which is perfectly reasonable. But his witness says that she worked with you at Hal's even before you left his company. Is that true?
Yes.
Well, you can't do that.
Okay.
And, Your Honor, I do want to mention something. There was no way I would ever say 6 months, because even on that
It
contract,
doesn't. Don't tell me about a contract that doesn't exist.
she did sign that contract.
Just a second.
She saw the contract that she signed.
Listen to me.
Yes.
If I don't see it, it doesn't exist.
Okay, okay, I understand.
Well, I want you to be a good holistic doctor.
Yes.
Okay?
I'm actually a wonderful holistic
just a second.
doctor.
I want you to be a very, very good holistic doctor and listen.
You got
The
it.
first thing a doctor has to do is listen.
Absolutely.
Good?
Yes.
She has just said that she took Hal while she was working for you. She says she thinks it was a 6-month arrangement. I'm giving to her that it was a 6-month arrangement. What difference does it make? She took your client. She wasn't allowed to take your client during the period of time she did. You got to listen to your patients. Client of yours for how long?
Around 2 years.
And let's say in 6-month period, every other week, 2 people went in.
Right.
Which is $55 an hour. Did you calculate how much money you would have lost as a result of taking that client for a 6-month period?
Yeah.
How much?
It'd be somewhere around $2,500.
Not around. I don't do around.
$2,500.
No, that's a get. What is that?
You have it written down here.
You have to
I
be
had it written down.
I have it written down here.
It
Miss
was.
Yancey, you could sit down now. How many hours a week did you charge?
About 2 hours.
So that's $110 a day, twice a month, $220 per month, times 6.
1320.
$1,320. That's 6 months. $1,320. That's what you owe him. You can't take his client. What?
Honor, I have a witness because when I was working, I quit. He slandered me in front of clients of his.
He called you a thief?
Yeah.
Well, you were. You stole his
Yeah,
client.
but he was letting his old clients I used to do think I'm ripping their houses off.
Okay.
I have a witness to this.
You owe him $1,320.
Your Honor, cleaning supplies for me while working for me?
$1,320.
I have proof of the cleaning supplies missing.
$1,320. We're
Okay.
done.
You got
Goodbye.
it.
Goodbye. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Sure, I have the judgment against him.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Step out.
I'm just happy that justice has been served.
I think it was fair. She did a good job.
Once a thief, I guess always a thief.
It was one client, and I thought I was in my rights, too,
I mean, it's very frustrating, you know, I mean, but sometimes really there's nothing you can do.
because he was overcharging his customers more money than what it was worth.
Yeah, well, she's lying about that.
I'm going to run my own cleaning company.
She doesn't have a professional bone in her body.
I'm going to be his competition.
Yeah, may the best cleaners win.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Barber versus England. Step forward.
Sherry Barber is suing her daughter, 22-year-old Chelsea England, for unpaid rent and bills and for selling her property without permission.
Miss Barber, this is your daughter.
Correct.
And Miss England, you were living in a mobile home with your father.
Correct.
And the mobile home was co-owned by you and your father?
Correct.
How long were you living in the mobile home with your grandfather?
I want to say about a year.
When did your grandfather pass away?
January 13th.
Of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim, Miss Barber, that your daughter finally moved out of the trailer at your request and owes you for rent, utilities, and also sold some of the things that were in the trailer that belonged to your father.
Correct.
Did you and your father purchase it together?
Yes, Your Honor.
When?
He's been there forever. In '02.
Prior to living with your grandfather, who were you living with?
I was actually on the road in the carnival. My grandfather wanted me to come home.
When you came home, what did you bring to live with your grandfather? What did you bring
Just
with you?
the clothes I had with me when I left.
After your grandfather passed away, did you sell any of the property from the trailer?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your mom said you can stay there until I sell it.
Correct.
I just don't know why we're here. I mean, we're talking about nonsense. We're talking about the whole trailer is worth $700. I'm asking you, why are we here?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sherry Barber says her daughter, Chelsea England, owes for rent, bills, and for selling her furniture without permission.
After your grandfather passed away, did you sell any of the property from the trailer?
I did, with her permission.
What property did you sell from the trailer?
Refrigerator, patio furniture. I had to sell to make ends meet.
Well, what ends did you have to make meet?
I have a 4-month-old baby. I was pregnant when I was taking care of my grandfather, and I gave birth about a month after my grandfather passed away.
Prior to that, were you working?
I was working until morning sickness and a high-risk pregnancy caused me to stop, in which case I still took care of my grandfather who was on his deathbed.
So after a brief period of time, you were not working, and you weren't working after your child was born. Tell me about the conversation that you had with your mom when she gave you permission to sell anything in the trailer.
I had asked her to come and get the stuff that she wanted, my brother wanted, and my stepdad wanted from my grandpa's house.
Well, just a minute. Why would you do that?
Because I had just given birth and I wanted, time with my newborn baby without a whole bunch of interruptions from everything else. It had been a month since my grandfather died.
Well, what made you think that since the mobile home belongs to your mother?
Right, and it was actually underneath the understanding that I could stay there until she sold the trailer.
Well, when did you have the conversation?
When my grandfather was still alive, he was a witness to that.
I don't want to hear you witness. Your mom said you can stay there until I sell it.
Correct.
Did you say that she could stay there until you sold it?
I told her she could stay there, Your Honor. I was going
Fine.
to let her stay
there until you, did you sell it?
And I can sell it for $700.
Did you give your daughter permission to sell anything?
No, Your Honor.
What do you think she sold from the trailer?
The refrigerator, the patio set. The patio set was brand new. It was not even 2 years old.
I just don't know why we're here. I mean, we're talking about nonsense. We're talking about the whole trailer is worth $700. So if you had a refrigerator that was almost 20 years old in it, so you had some new patio furniture, I'm asking you, why are we here?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He is the father of your baby.
Legally speaking, yes.
What do you mean legally speaking? What does that
The
mean?
biological father of my child is deceased.
Who did you think was supposed to pay these bills?
February and March rent was supposed to be a baby gift for my son and a birthday present for me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Sherry Barber says her daughter, Chelsea England, owes for rent, bills, and for selling her furniture without permission.
I'm asking you, why are we here?
Because, Your Honor, she did not pay rent
I got the notice from the trailer park with the eviction notice with my name on it, and it says my name and other occupants that the rent wasn't paid, and it was an eviction notice from to come up with the money to pay that.
How much money did you have to pay the trailer park? And from what month to what month? When did you move out, Miss England?
Almost a month ago.
Okay, so the rent was from when to when for the trailer park?
February, March, I took care of for her so she could be with the baby.
Okay, so what months are we talking about?
May and June.
And how much was the rent on the trailer park?
The rent's $468 a month.
And who was supposed to take care of that? You were living there and you got married.
Correct. I got
Just
married.
a second. So now you, your husband, and your baby are living.
We weren't married at the time.
When did you get married?
We got married on the 19th of last month.
Okay, but he is the father of your baby.
Legally speaking, yes.
What do you mean legally? What does that
The
mean?
biological father of my child is deceased. And the February and March rent was supposed to be a baby gift for my son and a birthday present for me.
$936. Is that why we're here?
For that, for the water bill and for the cable bill that she ran up in my father's name.
In what months?
From February on, for the cable bill, that came up to $821.95 that she owes for that.
May I see the bill?
That's the cable bill.
What kind of cable did you have there?
Comcast. And that bill is resulting of after my mother and I put on into my name, so that would not happen, and she just never went through with it completely. I was waiting on something for her end.
We're going to always somebody else's fault. You're living there. You have to pay the expenses there. So far, it's $936 and $821. What's left?
We have the water bill.
Which is how much?
Which was never paid.
Just a second. From when to when?
The last payment was made was in January, right after my dad died, and the next payment was the one that I made to pay off the water bill.
May I see it?
Yes. And I have a letter here from my daughter of the money that I gave her for the part of the water bill.
Who did you think was supposed to pay these bills?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Who did you think was supposed to pay these bills?
My mother's the one that told me she was going to cover it until she sold the trailer. I was never told I had to pay any of the utilities. I was never told I had to pay any of the rent. I would never received a copy of an eviction notice. She ended up turning off the water on me after she called CPS on me, and I do have actually her witness stating that she is the one that called on me, and she said that
$1,852 for your living expenses when you lived in the trailer with your baby, with or without your new husband. She's not responsible. You're a big girl. You got to take care of your own expenses. If your grandfather took care of you...
I was taking care of him.
No. If he took care... You may have physically taken care of him. You didn't take care of him all the time because while you were with him, you got pregnant.
That was before he got sick. When my grandfather got sick, it was in May of when I first got pregnant. I was morning sickness, and I was the one that lived in home taking care of him.
I got it. You owe your mother $2,852. That's what you owe her. For your living expenses, your husband's living expenses, and your child's living expenses. Those aren't your mother's responsibilities. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. May step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He didn't feel like I was going to be able to do the job sufficiently.
How is he discriminating against you? He's giving you an opportunity to work.
You're right, but...
Just say you're right.
Judge Judy.
She wanted my husband before I married him.
No, I've been with my husband for 19 years.
She even told me beforehand if I left him, she'd pay everything.
No.
My mother called CPS on me and
Being blown and how nasty her house was.
I'm done with her. I want to move on.
Someone took it upon themselves to try to save the baby.
She lost that when she sold my son's stuff.
It kills me because I watched that baby be born.
My rights to her grandson.
I'd be able to see my grandson.
It's time for us to start over.
Time will tell, but I do love my daughter.
I want to know how you got the car.
A boyfriend's troubles put her in the driver's seat.
Why did you put it in her name?
I did not have my driver's license.
And that's alcohol related.
Right.
but it cost him his car.
Were you sleeping with him?
Yes.
That doesn't mean he gave you a car.
He owed me for driving him around for the last 4 months.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Why?
Because it sounds ridiculous.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Garrett Sakala is suing his ex-girlfriend, Nicole Beck, for the return of a car and the return or value of a car breathalyzer.
Order. All rise. This case, Beck. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Thanks, Bert. Mr. Sakala.
Yes.
The defendant was a woman with whom you were involved for a brief period of time. And according to your complaint, during that brief period of time, for some reason, you put a car that belonged to you in her name.
Correct.
And now you want it back.
Correct.
Do you want to tell me when you put the car in her name and why?
I put the car in her name on November 7th because I was awarded...
November 7th of what year?
18. I was awarded the car back in court from a previous girlfriend.
Okay. When did you buy this car?
January 2017.
And under what circumstances did a previous girlfriend have the car?
I was helping her out. The payments were very affordable, $251 a month. She was making the payments, and then the car broke down. She left it on the side of the road, so it got impounded. Once...
In whose name was the car?
In my name. My name.
Just a second. So you got the car back from a previous girlfriend, but the car was in your name.
And it could not be put into my name because I have charges.
Just a second. Listen. I'm talking about the old girlfriend. I'm trying to figure out the provenance of this car. The car was initially in your name when you bought it. When was the car when you initially bought it?
It was put into Mary Jo.
Okay. So when you initially bought it, you put it in Mary Jo's name.
Correct.
And you put down the deposit. You bought it in 2017.
Correct.
And you put it in her name. Why?
To help her out.
Why did you put it in her name?
Because I did not want to have a responsibility of it, and she was going to make the payments. My credit was already good enough.
Just let me see. You put it in her name because it was her car, and she was going to make the payments on it.
Correct.
Oh, well, that's a good reason for it to be in her name. She was going to pay for it, so it was going to be in her name. What happened?
The car broke down 2 months after she had it. It got impounded, and she stopped making the payments. Since the loan
Had
was...
you co-signed on the loan?
Yes.
Oh, well, there you go. So you were responsible for the loan.
Correct.
And what court gave you back the car?
Sherburne County.
Was that after a trial, or did Mary Jo... What?
Yes.
It was after a trial?
Correct.
And how many months had you been paying for the car?
10 months.
So she was paying for it 2 months?
Yes.
And you paid for it for 10 months?
Yes.
And you were on the loan?
Yes.
How much is left on the loan on the car?
$8,600, I believe.
Now, you got possession of the car from Mary Jo. What date?
That was November 7th.
Great. And you got possession of the car on November 7th. Now, on what date did you put the car in the defendant's name?
The same day.
And that was because?
The car was in the impound, and I had to get it out of impound. The only way I could do that was to have it in a legal driver's name. I did not have my driver's license, so
Because
I have some issues that are tied up in court right now, and I can't...
Well, that's not an issue. Telling me you don't have a driver's license, so you cannot drive a car legally. Is that right?
Yes.
And that's alcohol-related.
Right.
So you took the car out. In order to get the car out, you gave the car to the defendant to put it in her name.
She offered to put it in her name.
Let me tell you, nobody can conjure up a story like you just told me unless you told her the story of how the car came into your possession. First was with Mary Jo. She stopped making the payments. You made the payments for 10 months. Now, when you were making the payments for 10 months, did you have a driver's license?
No.
Who drove the car?
The car was undrivable. It had to be fixed.
You mean when you got it back from the judge, it was undrivable?
Correct.
When was the last time you... When was the last time you made a payment on this car?
June 11th.
In what amount?
$251.73.
Has he been making payments on the car?
The payments he's making are not towards the car. They're for a personal loan that he took out to give the money to Mary Jo. There's no collateral. The cars are not collateral on the loan.
Can I see the title to the car? Are you working, sir? Are you working?
Yes.
Who do you work for?
Construction company.
Prior to that, where were you working?
In the oil field.
And where do you live?
Brainerd, Minnesota.
How do you get there to work every day?
I have a friend that picks me up every day because I still don't have a license.
What's your friend's name?
Andrew.
Does he work with you?
He does.
Miss Beck, when you and the defendant were together, did he ever drive the car?
Not the car in question, no.
Any car?
Yes.
What car?
It was a Oldsmobile Aurora.
Whose name was it in?
Friends of his that live in North Dakota. And it had a North Dakota plate. If he didn't drive that, then I drove him around in my car.
Now, I want you to tell me under what circumstances you got this car.
When I met Garrett back in August
Don't read anything, just look at me.
2018, he was already in the midst of trying to get the car back. Mary Jo, the car itself is paid for.
I want to know how you got the car.
She put it in my name. It's never been in Garrett's name.
She put it in your name for what purpose?
Because she was giving it up. It wasn't hers. She defaulted on making payments to him.
What year car is that?
2012.
So you made no payments on the car?
Myself?
Yeah.
It's paid for.
You made no payments on the car. You didn't pay for the car.
Because it's paid for. Yeah? I'm looking.
Yes.
It's paid for. Why would I make payments on a car that's paid for?
I want to know. Listen, very, very easy. Either you get the title back or you don't. I have the title.
I had the title, yes.
No, I have the title.
Well, now you have the title, yes. But I had the title.
No, you had the title. You used to have the title. So we're going to answer my question. I want to know under what circumstances it was titled in your name. Do you understand?
Garrett asked me to put it in my name.
He asked you if you would put it in your name so he could get it out of impound.
And because he doesn't have a valid driver's license.
And because he doesn't have a valid driver's license.
And because he owed me for driving him around for the last 4 months.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
8.5-hour drive?
Just a second. That's ridiculous.
Why?
Because it sounds ridiculous. Were you sleeping with him?
Yes.
Then you drove him around. That's what, went out to eat, went away on vacation. That doesn't mean he gave you a car.
Yeah.
He didn't give you a car. You understood that you were getting the car titled in your name because he couldn't have the car titled in his name.
No, that wasn't the reason.
No, that was the reason. There's no question. That's what you just told me.
Also, my dad was going to fix it for him for free. That was the other reason.
Just a second. That was the reason because he didn't give it to you. The girlfriend, Mary Jo, put it in your name. That's what you just told me. Mary Jo put it in my name.
Because it's never been in Garrett's name.
Just a second. You weren't sleeping with Mary Jo. She had no reason. You weren't driving Mary Jo around. Do you understand? You're not getting the title back to the car. But you have a problem, sir. You can't have the car in your name.
That's right.
So what do you want me to do?
I brought Angie to call up my sister-in-law to put it into her name. It's family.
The car's not in my name anymore either.
Who's Carolyn?
That's my niece.
So you titled the car in her name?
Because her boyfriend was going to fix it.
Okay. So what I have to tell you is this, sir. Mr. Sakala, you're actually suing the wrong person because the person who owns this car is Carolyn. I don't want to give this to you because I'm keeping this just to make it difficult for her.
Okay.
Do you understand? You sue Carolyn for the return of your car. I'm going to hold on to this, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to give you an order to take to the DMV that if she sues or asks the DMV for a duplicate title, it's denied. Do you understand?
I understand.
That will slow down the process.
All right.
Good. Thank you very much. Bye.
Can I continue suing for the other items that she has taken from my house? My interlock device?
She says she doesn't have it.
Because she threw it, of course.
To test you whether you're driving and drinking?
Right.
She says she doesn't have it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
There's a lot more to it, a lot more in depth.
Wow, Judge Judy handled it perfectly.
He still owed me, and that was part of the payment.
This girl is no good. I need to just get rid of her.
He held me down and choked me, and another, he pulled a gun on me.
She pulled a gun on me, actually, and I took her to the ground and disarmed her.
Taken care of myself since.
August, I can get my driver's license. I won't have to deal with this.
Take notes. Always have a witness.
Learn a little more about girls before I actually date them.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Moore versus Clark. Step forward.
Dale Moore is suing his former tenants, Jerry and Brittany Clark, for unpaid rent.
Mr. Moore, the Clarks were tenants of yours. For how long?
February 28th of this year would have been 2 years.
And when did they move out?
They moved out April 8th.
What was their rent?
$5.95 a month.
What months do you allege they didn't pay?
February, March, and April of this year.
Did you pay February's rent?
We did.
Do you have proof that you paid?
I didn't bring any proof with me. We actually were in the process of moving, and everything just...
How did they pay you? By check or cash?
Both, and they would do it in a drop box at my office.
Okay. Did you pay March's rent?
No, we actually had a verbal agreement that we would do work to the house in exchange for our rent.
Well, tell me about that.
Well, when we moved in, there were a lot of damages to the house.
I don't care about when you moved in. You lived there for 2 years.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
My grandmother passed away in November, and that's when we had to take out a huge loan to help with final preparations, which Dale was under. He knew about it.
Not his problem. He's your landlord,
Right,
not your father.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Dale Moore says his former tenants, Jerry and Brittany Clark, moved out owing for rent and damages to his home.
Now, I want to know what you were going to do.
The agreement was that we were going to repaint the entire house, and we put up all new light fixtures. We fixed leaking plumbing issues.
No. I don't want to know what you did historically. I read your answer. I want to know when you were moving out in the month of March.
The agreement was... Sorry.
You already told me what you say your agreement was. Had you painted the house before?
We painted our own preferential colors.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yes. Had you painted the house before?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Moore let you paint the house before.
Yes.
What colors did you paint your preferential colors?
Well, it was beige, gray, and then our daughter's room was pink.
What room did you paint gray?
Gray was our bedroom, and then the main colors of the house was a beige.
And what rooms did you paint?
Every room except for our grandparents' room.
Whose grandparents?
Our grandparents. They lived with us because they were elderly and couldn't take care of themselves or afford to live out on their own.
How long did they live with you?
They actually moved out with us.
What color was their room?
Theirs stayed the same color it was when we moved in, so white.
So when you moved in, all the rooms were painted white? Just follow where we're going. When we moved in, all the rooms were painted white?
Yes.
And you were repainting the house white?
We were told...
You were repainting
it a beige color.
Is that what Mr. Moore selected?
Yes. I texted him and I called him and he said that it was fine. I showed him the pictures of what the beige color in the living room and the kitchen. He said that that was fine to paint it throughout the house. And we got completely done except for little touch-ups in the kitchen.
But you had painted the other parts of the house beige yourself?
Yes.
And you were painting over that?
Yes.
And painting over the pink?
Yes.
And painting over the gray?
Yes.
Okay. Did you pay April's rent?
No, he actually told us that we wouldn't be liable for April. We would only be liable for the 3 days that we were there. Our lights were cut out on April 3rd, and we moved out on April 3rd, and the only thing we were there for...
Why do you think... Let's follow this through. You were a tenant with your daughter, an elderly couple, you and your husband, for 2 years.
Yes.
I have to assume that Mr. Moore, who was not seeking rent for any other months but February, March, and April, that you paid your rent for the entire 2 years.
Yes.
Where were you moving to?
We moved about 5 miles away from the previous house, Dale's house.
With whom?
Well, we moved because my grandmother had passed away.
Moved with you?
They did, but my grandmother passed away in November, and that's when we had to take out a huge loan to help with final preparations, which Dale was under. He knew about it.
Not his problem. He's your landlord,
right,
not your
I
father.
agree.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You didn't pay February's rent by the last day that you were able to pay it, by February 8th, because you wrote him on February 9th and said, I will be paying February and March's rent. That's not a deal.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Dale Moore says his former tenants, Jerry and Brittany Clark, moved out owing for rent and damages to his home.
Now, so you stopped paying rent.
No, we continued paying rent in February.
How much are you paying rent now?
$400 a month.
So you're paying less rent?
Yes, ma'am.
When had Mr. Moore asked you to leave?
On March 28th, he was asking us when the final day we would be out. And
when did he first ask you to move?
March 28th.
Is that correct?
No.
When did you first ask the Clarks to move?
I never did ask them to move.
When were you notified that they were moving?
February 14th, she sent a text message.
Well, this is very, very simple and straightforward. On February 9th, you wrote to him, hey, just wanted to give you, by the way, on what date was your rent due?
It's not past due until the 8th. So it's due on the 1st.
So it's due on the 1st.
Yes, ma'am.
And past due on the 8th.
Yes, ma'am.
So on February 9th, which is one day past the last day you were allowed to pay rent, I just wanted to give you notice we will be moved out by the end of March. Rent will be paid for February and March.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else we need to do to get back our deposit? I know we need to paint, take down the ramp, clean out our stuff. Is there anything else we need? Okay, he said, thanks. Just text when you're out for inspection and return key. So you weren't out by the end of March. Clearly, you weren't out by the end of March.
Excuse me.
You weren't out.
You
weren't out until April 8th. You didn't pay February's rent.
I did pay February's rent, and we were told...
Just a second. You didn't pay February's rent by the last day that you were able to pay it, by 9th, and said, I will be paying February and March's rent. And I know we have to paint. That's not a deal, to paint instead of rent. I know we have to paint. Take down the ramp, which I assumed was for your grandparents.
Yes.
Is there anything else? He said, no, just let me know when you're ready to move out for an inspection and return of the key.
Yes, and when we
Okay, so
when we
you
met,
owe for 3 months' rent. That's $1,500.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, can I see pictures? May I see pictures, please, of the damage that you're complaining about?
Yeah. The damage is, and the claim for the damage is just non-refundable of the deposit they have on file. It's because they left debris and trash all in the yard, and I had to pay to get it removed.
Oh, okay, fine.
And
sir,
I'm
listen,
sorry. I was looking
sir,
for
just one second.
Okay.
If that's what it's for, the part of the deposit, did you return their deposit?
No.
How much was their deposit?
$595.
And how much did you have to pay to have their trash removed?
It was over $595, but I think it's fair, but wear and tear of normal rent.
Okay.
So I'm just going to accept $595. It was into thousands because I did some improvements to the house. But I have pictures of...
Well, I don't have a counterclaim for security deposit, which you kept.
I understand. Yes,
Got
correct.
it. So they owe you, actually, it's $595. They owe you $1,785 for 3 months' rent. Thank you very much. Judgment for the plaintiff.
You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy... The warning.
Never take in somebody whose own parent kicked him out, which is what you did.
Yes, ma'am.
The regret.
The room was trashed. How did it get trashed?
Judge Judy.
No hard feelings towards Mr. Moore.
She saw through the lies that they were telling.
Leaky toilets, cut off valves, broken brick that my daughter fell and hurt herself.
Damages that they say they repaired are the one they created.
Make sure that they aren't slumlords.
Have to start watching everybody and doing more inspections.
picked as the right person for a job.
The defendant knew that you were legally blind when he hired you.
Yes.
So how did he discriminate against you?
He said that I was a liability.
Then was she singled out?
He did.
How is he discriminating against you? He's giving you an opportunity to work.
You're right.
That's all. Just say you're right.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
25-year-old Ashley Lee is suing Dr. Carl Robinson for unpaid wages, reimbursement for an iPad, and discrimination.
Order. All rise. It's case number 90 on the calendar in the matter of Lee versus Robinson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Who are you, sir?
I am her husband. I'm sorry.
You're not part of this lawsuit.
Yes, ma'am. I was just helping her because she's blind and she can't see. I was just helping her.
You can have a seat for a moment.
Thank you.
Miss Lee, this is what I gather. You were court-ordered to go for anger management classes.
Yes.
As a result of what?
Me and my husband had an altercation, and I physically slapped him.
Were the police called?
Yes.
Was this the first time that the police were called to your house?
Yes.
And did you, when you went to court, enter a plea in that case?
Yes, because it was my first... Sorry.
And your sentence was going to anger management.
Correct.
And the place where you went to anger management was a place that is run by the defendant, and the course was taught in anger management by his son.
Correct.
Is what I gather from your complaint. Now, in what month did she come for anger management classes at your school?
I believe, Judge, in January of 2019.
That is not true.
I like that.
Could you just tell me what month she came?
She came in July.
July of 2018.
That's correct.
And how long was your course there, Miss Lee?
6 weeks.
Did you attend?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
I'll let you for a second.
Okay.
Right now, sit.
Okay.
You attended?
Yes, ma'am, I did. The classes that I did miss, I was charged for, and I paid my courses.
Just a second.
So
that's not what I asked you.
Okay, okay.
The idea is not to pay for it. The idea is to go.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, during that time, were you and your husband living together?
Yes, we've lived together our whole marriage.
And you are legally blind.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you legally blind in July of 2018?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, this is what your lawsuit is.
Okay.
Your lawsuit says that the defendant gave you a job.
Correct.
As an assistant in his anger management school for work that you did.
Correct.
And that he fired you, and so you're suing him for discrimination.
Correct.
Now, clearly the defendant knew that you were legally blind when he hired you.
Yes.
So how did he discriminate against you?
When we went in for the interview, I told him about me receiving government assistance, and he did not want to sign the documents that I needed in order
You
for
get
me.
government assistance for what?
I received Social Security, and I was trying to work so that I can receive child care to go back to school in the fall.
Just a second. His job did not impact your Social Security.
It would have, but he decided that he wanted to pay me under the table so that he wouldn't have to pay taxes on me.
Just a second. Well, paying you in cash under the table is only valuable to you.
No, it's not valuable to me because...
Just a second.
Okay.
He hired someone who was disabled.
Yes.
Did you have any experience at being an administrative assistant?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Give me the last job that you worked at as an administrative assistant. The last place that you worked.
I would consider customer service as administrative assistance for me personally, but if that's not...
I want you to give me the name of the last place that you worked.
Walmart.
In what month and year?
I've been disabled since 2017.
Prior to 2017, where did you work?
I've done...
Gave you a chance at a job, knowing that you were disabled. So I'm trying to figure out how he discriminated against you.
He discriminated against me because when I came in with documents saying that I need this in order to go and get child care assistance, he refused to sign the documents that I needed in order because he said that I was a liability and that he didn't want to pay taxes on me. That is very true.
And?
That was
just a second. And?
I personally feel like he didn't want to sign it because he never had intentions on paying me, because I personally feel like he didn't feel like I was going to be able to do the job sufficiently, and because I am legally blind, he was going to...
Miss Lee, what doesn't make sense to me, put your hand down.
Yes, ma'am.
What doesn't make sense to me, madam, is that if somebody hires somebody who is disabled, and if it doesn't work out, how is he discriminating against you? He's giving you an opportunity to work.
The discrimination comes from him not signing the documents.
Oh, well, forget it. Now,
Okay.
next. Now let's get to unpaid wages.
Yes.
From what date to what date did you work for Mr. Robinson?
I started working for him February 18th to March 7th, and I have those documents to show.
Okay, I'd like to see the documents. Your husband can help you.
Okay. I can show you on my phone because I didn't get the print off of it, but I do have it on my phone.
Okay.
Would you like to see it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, here's the very first day of me working. So this is the very first day, and you can see the date. And then this is the day that he concluded the work experience.
I don't know.
So that's 15 days.
You work more than that.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I actually didn't work Monday through Friday. I worked Monday through Thursday. But on the first...
Okay, Monday through Thursday.
Correct.
Per week. So in total, you worked 12 days for the defendant. And how much... You could sit down. And how much were you supposed to get paid?
$300 every Friday.
Did you get paid the first week that you worked?
Yes.
The second week that you worked, did he pay you?
Yes.
The last 4 days that you worked, did he pay you?
No, ma'am.
So at most, he owes you $300.
Well, no, because I ordered an iPad that he asked me to order, and I owe an outstanding balance of $1,339 to them. So...
No, you told me that you returned it. Don't make that up.
I have to pay for that, and I have the evidence right here that I have to pay AT&T for that iPad and for the service that I used for that month.
We have computer equipment in the office.
That computer...
From one office to the other.
It doesn't work
Just a
on my
second.
eyesight, and I have them, like I said.
Miss Lee, $300 is what he owes you at most.
No.
Now, I'm telling you,
Okay.
$300 is what he... This isn't windfall day. All right. Now, did she work the last 4 days in March?
No, Judge, she did not.
Well, tell me what days she did work in March, because according to the... Listen to me. According to the note in her phone, you say to her, I will have your money on Monday when we terminate our relationship. What money were you talking about?
The Monday for the last 2 days that she did work, which was Wednesday and Thursday. She was out on Monday of the last week.
The last week in March?
Correct.
I wasn't
Correct.
out. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I have the text that said that she had to go to the Social Security office.
I'd like to see
and she
it.
told me that.
I was still working. Even though I was on the bus in 20-degree weather, I was still answering calls.
That was not our agreement.
No.
I need to.
May I see the email, please?
From the...
I was still answering calls, working while I was out of the office.
Miss Lee, if you're not in the office, you don't get paid.
Okay. And I also have the evidence to show that I came back to the office by 11 o'clock.
She was supposed to have been in the office at 9.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Robinson, did she come back to the office that day?
I don't know, Judge. I have no way of knowing when she came back. I didn't know she had left the office.
I messaged him, and I have the messages to show that I was working that day, and then I asked to leave.
So you came in, and then you asked to leave?
Because I had an emergency, and I came back. Give me a second. I can get it together.
Great.
Yes.
I'll take both, Bird. Yes, she was in the office. She said, I have an emergency with my Social Security benefits, and I need to go to the office ASAP. I'm going to step away from the office for a second. So that was on Monday.
Okay.
Okay, so she was there on Monday. Was she there on Tuesday?
She said she had an emergency with her child, had to go to the ER.
I came back to the office again. I left the office. I'm sorry. I left the office, and I have the messages to show that I got in contact with my husband, and he wasn't able to get the baby. I had to go get the baby from the daycare, and I took the baby to the hospital.
Okay. Miss Lee, so far, Monday and Tuesday, you work part-time. I'm just telling you. So far, Monday and Tuesday, on a 4-day week, you work part-time. And you took care of your... Just a second. And you took care of your own personal business. I'm just stating facts. That's what you...
You're right.
That's all. Just say you're right.
At the same time, ma'am, it was times where I had to leave one office and go to the other because they asked me to go to a different office.
We're only talking about Monday and Tuesday. He paid you the first 4 days. He paid you the second 4 days. Now we're talking about the last 4 days that you worked, that you want to be paid for, the $300, which is what I'm wasting my time on this case. But according to you, the Monday and Tuesday of that week so far, you only worked part-time. You were taking care of your own personal business, whether taking your son to the emergency room or going to your Social Security office to take care of your Social Security benefits. You only were providing services for your employer part-time. Now, whether or not you're going to get paid for that is something else. But you have to acknowledge that, fine, then say I only work part-time on Monday and Tuesday. What about Wednesday?
On Wednesday, she did work on Wednesday.
And on Thursday?
Does he have proof of that?
Why would you want proof of that? He said you worked Wednesday.
Well, I'm just, I thought he said he didn't.
No, he said she said
You're
Wednesday
right. I'm sorry.
she worked.
Let me be quiet. I'm sorry.
Well, why don't you just listen?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
in the memo line of the check, it says gift from James Enoch to Savannah Harvey. But like you mentioned, this would be...
You don't have to tell me that I'm right, sir.
No.
I'm just telling you that I'm not hearing your counterclaim. Do you understand?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ashley Lee claims Dr. Carl Robinson owes for wages, the cost of an iPad, and discriminating against her because she's legally blind.
Yeah. He said Wednesday she worked, and what about Thursday?
Thursday, she did work on Thursday.
Okay, and then you terminated her.
We talked on Thursday, and I couldn't get answers because her daycare... Yeah, we talked, yes.
You parted ways on Thursday.
Yes.
Listen to me. Make it easy for yourself, sir. I'm not going to split hairs with you. She did not come to work for a full day Monday. She didn't come for a full day Tuesday. You made a mistake in hiring her. This case is about $300. So with $300, judgment for the plaintiff.
No.
Judge, I have receipt that shows that I paid her for those 2 days.
He did not pay me for anything. That's why
it's right here.
May I see it?
It's right here.
You just seen the messages showing that he never paid me.
Sit.
He's up here.
Sit.
He's up here.
The first
sit.
Hey.
He's been sitting up there for about 10 minutes.
He never paid me. He specifically said, I will not pay you. In the messages, he said, and since he's supposed
I'm reading something.
Let me get this together. Here you are. Here's the evidence to show that she said he will not pay me anything. Anything. There you are.
Ashley, you brought our son to work.
I did bring our
just
son
to be clear,
but it's
Monday
okay.
you will send $220, and Friday, cannot connect on this, PayPal.
I paid her in advance, Judge, there, because she needed daycare.
That was the first week, and you paid me for the first week.
I paid you in advance.
You took it out of my pay.
I paid you in
Stop
advance.
talking to each other.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I read in the complaint, which is why I asked you in the first week, did he pay you anything in addition?
He didn't.
Judge,
okay.
Anything in addition to the $300 wages for the 4 days? You said no.
He didn't.
I
have the messages to show.
Did he?
He paid me early, and he took it out of my pay on Friday. And I have those messages as well.
Okay. Did you take it out?
Yes, I did. I took it out.
Good.
I paid her the balance of
Pay
$80.
$300. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Why is your excuse? You may step out.
I think you have people with disabilities all across the country, and some of them would take a dime, and they're not dishonest people.
It's their personal opinion. I gave my full-fledged heart and
And they're hungry, and they're working every day, and then there's some people who take advantage.
Blood and tears into that job, and if anybody doesn't see my integrity, then it's perfectly fine.
Of other folk who try to help, and I tried to help.
And here he was.
I think that you should weigh very carefully on even who you help.
And I'm perfectly fine with what happened.
And I've been helping people for 46 years.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Harvey versus Enoch. Step forward.
25-year-old Savannah Harvey is suing her ex-fiancé, James Enoch, for unpaid credit card charges, wedding expenses, security cameras, and a mortgage payment. James is countersuing for a house down payment.
Miss Harvey, how long did you and the defendant live together?
We lived together since 2011.
And when did you buy the house that you lived in with him?
On August of 2017.
And at what point did you start to plan a wedding?
I was proposed to on Christmas Day of 2017.
But you had been living together for 6 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Keeping house together.
Yes, ma'am.
Now it all didn't work out. And now you want me to try to sort out stuff.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He paid the mortgage on your house.
Yes, ma'am.
You bought a wedding dress because you thought you were going to get married.
Yes, ma'am.
right? And it didn't happen.
Yes.
And you have to say goodbye. And so far, it sounds to me like you're $5,000 ahead of the game, Miss Harvey.
Real cases, real people.
Harvey is suing her ex-fiancé, James Enoch, for unpaid credit card charges, wedding expenses, security cameras, and a mortgage payment. James is countersuing for a house down payment.
Now, when you bought the house in 2017, did Mr. Enoch put any money down on the house?
Yes, Your Honor.
How much?
$5,000.
When did you and Mr. Enoch break up?
On May the 22nd.
Of what year? This year?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when you broke up, did you give him back the $5,000?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Okay. Now, you're suing him for your wedding dress and some credit card bills.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? And he's got a counterclaim because he says, you know, while he paid the mortgage while you were living together, he said he never got his $5,000 back. That was equity in the house. So,
I have a letter from James that I would like to give to you.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
That he put down money, you spent money on a wedding dress, you spent money on some credit cards while you were living together for
Yes.
tires for him and books for his contracting license and a mortgage payment that he canceled on your house that he was paying.
Yes, ma'am.
So after you broke up, he canceled a mortgage payment that was due.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's not fraudulent. You didn't want to pay your mortgage anymore.
At the time that he did that, he was still in the home.
To you, he's not going to pay you any money.
Okay. I have a gift letter from James for that $5,000 that he put down on the house.
I don't care. That's because you were a couple.
Yes, he signed it stating that he was never expecting to receive that money back in any
Well,
form.
then you got a windfall. We don't take care of people who live together for 6 years, live together as a couple. He paid the mortgage on your house, which was fine because that was your arrangement.
Yes, ma'am.
He put down the down payment because you intended on living together. That's why he spent the money.
Yes, ma'am.
You bought a wedding dress because you thought you were going to get married.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? And it didn't happen.
Yes.
And you have to say goodbye. And so far, it sounds to me like you're $5,000 ahead of the game, Miss Harvey.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You've got his $5,000. You may have spent some money on books for his contracting license and everything, but I wouldn't have sued him. Now, my sense is that Mr. Enoch would not have sued you.
I did not intend to go down that route, Your Honor.
Right. That's my sense, that it didn't work out after 6 years. Everybody paid certain bills. You were living together as a couple. Didn't work out. You went your own way. It's over. We're done.
If I could, Your Honor, I had a cashier's check made out in the amount of $5,000, and in the memo line of the check it says gift from James Enoch to Savannah Harvey. But like you mentioned, this would be.
You don't have to tell me that I'm right, sir.
No.
I'm just telling you that I'm not hearing your counterclaim. Do you understand? Don't waste my time. I have other things to do, too.
I just wanted it to be known she's also suing me for pain and suffering and all those other things.
I dismissed her case. What do you want?
I just wanted to speak on.
Say you wanted to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Good, you said it. We're done. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Mr. Swagger had me sell the vehicle because he owed me some money.
That never happened. He told me to print up a bill of sale and write his name on it.
You remember that?
No, Your Honor.
Nah.
Judge Judy.
My maid of honor, who was the witness today, was having an affair with James, my fiance.
We had a toxic relationship that was coming to a close. She wasn't happy with the way it came to a close.
I did when I caught them in bed together moments later. Well, it was actually kind of a funny thing it was called. At that moment, I told her to pack her belongings and leave, and he said, I'm leaving with her, and he has been gone since. It opened a can of worms that we couldn't close, I guess. It is. It's going to take a lot of financial struggle.
She hasn't been an angel, and she's done the same, if not worse, to me.
But I will prevail, and I will be okay.
I had no idea she had my vehicle when I was incarcerated.
In for a surprise after getting out of jail.
Mr. Swagger had me sell the vehicle because he owed me some money.
You remember that conversation?
That never happened, Your Honor.
Of course not. Sit down.
Now, a bumpy ride is ahead.
He told me to print up a bill of sale and write his name on it.
You remember that?
No, Your Honor.
Nah.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
LaShonda Virgil is suing her former friend, Donnie Williams Swigert, for the return of money she paid for her car and reimbursement for repairs.
Order. All rise.
Uncross your hands, please. No, don't sit down. Stand up and uncross.
It's case number 36 on the calendar in the matter of Virgil versus William Swigert.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Bird, before I start asking some questions, would you look up the book value of a 2002 Ford Expedition? Mr. Swagert, for how long were you incarcerated?
Almost a year, Your Honor.
From when to when?
From April to January 1st.
And how long did you know Miss Virgil?
Several years, probably 10 years.
And you were the owner of the 2002, the time you were incarcerated, Ford Expedition.
Yes, ma'am.
Who did you leave in charge of that car?
My son was driving the car for work.
Now, I'd like you to tell me what you know, Mr. Swagert, about how Miss Virgil got possession of your car.
At this particular day from...
I'm talking about while you were incarcerated.
Oh, I had no idea she had my vehicle when I was incarcerated.
How and when did you find out that she had your vehicle?
I received a letter approximately January 6th from the...
That was after you were released from prison?
Yes, I was released January 1st. January 6th, I received a letter from American Family Insurance.
May I see it?
I didn't bring that actual letter with me, no.
Well, then don't tell me what the letter said.
Okay.
When you got out of jail, where did you go?
Home. The title lien on it. So I assumed that while I was incarcerated, the lien company had repossessed it.
Because it wasn't there.
Right.
How much had you borrowed on the car?
$2,000.
Did you ever sign any document that indicated that Miss Virgil had any right, title, or interest in your 2002 car?
No, Your Honor.
How much is the car worth, Bird?
$2,293.
$2,293. Now, Miss Virgil.
Yes.
I want you to tell me how you first got possession of Mr. Swagert's car.
I bought it from my witness.
From him? Tell me your last name, sir.
Smith.
How did you come to sell Miss Virgil Mr. Swaggert's car?
Okay, first of all, Mr. Swagger had me sell the vehicle because he owed me some money for repairs for a vehicle. So I sold the vehicle to her, and it's something that he knew.
Okay, so Mr. Swaggert, who you knew,
Yes.
and you had done some work on another car of his? Uh-huh is not an
Yes.
answer. And you communicated with him in jail?
No.
Well, how did you communicate with him so that you had
Well,
permission?
I recently talked to him. I talked to him once about him owing me the money for the car. I mean, for the opening money. So he told me, go ahead, sell the car and keep the money.
Well, tell me, sir, when you had that conversation. What?
But it was,
No, I want you to tell me on hand.
Look, it was...
Month and year.
Look, it was the end of last year.
And you spoke to him how? How did you have that
A
conversation?
three-way phone call.
Three-way phone call with whom?
With him. He called me on a three-way phone call. Somebody called, he called somebody, and they called him.
And he was in prison?
Yes.
You remember that conversation?
That never happened, Your Honor.
Of course not. Sit down. So you have somebody who you say is going to sell you a car that was worth $2,200 for $500.
Yes.
That's a very good deal.
It is.
And when did you make this very good deal with Mr. Smith?
It was around Christmas of last year.
And when you made this good deal, you gave him $500 in cash?
I sent it through Walmart to Walmart.
And did you get a title?
No. He had a...
The answer is no.
Okay.
You just got the car. And where was the car?
In Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Where? Was it in a house, in a garage?
It was at his house.
And you know him from?
I've been knowing him for about the same length of time I've known him.
How did you get the car from his house?
I got a ride to Green Bay and came and got it.
And then you drove it back to your house?
Mhm.
That was in December?
Yes.
Did you drive the car in January?
Yes.
The whole month of January?
Yes.
Did you have an accident in January?
December 31st.
So 1 week after you got the car, it was in an accident, which you say wasn't your fault.
No, it wasn't.
Was the car towed?
Yes.
To where?
To... It was in Gurney, Illinois. I forget the tow place.
Okay.
But I have a receipt.
Fine. That's all right.
Okay.
Car was in an accident. How did it come about that you drove the car then the whole month of January?
Because it was just the front right fenders that was messed up and the light.
So you managed to get it out of towing?
Yes.
And you were able to do that without a title?
Yes. I printed up a bill of sale. I spoke with him. When he got out of jail on the 1st, I spoke with him. It was either the 2nd or the 3rd. And he told me to put his signature on the bill of sale and mine and put that I bought it on the 24th. And they let me get it out with that.
He told you to tell them something?
He told me to print up a bill of sale and write his name on there and my name on there.
Do you remember that?
No, Your Honor.
Nah. Oh, whatever. So you got the car out, you wrote up a bill of sale, signed his name, forged his name, you got the car out, and then you drove it the whole month of January?
Yes.
Did you drive it in February?
Yes.
Whole month?
Yes.
Did you drive it in March?
Yes.
Are you still driving it?
No, the last day I had the vehicle was March 23rd.
So you drove it January, February, and March?
Yes.
And for that, you paid
repairs to it, too.
You paid $500 for the car?
Yes.
And then what happened to the car?
Donnie had the Kenosha police.
And he got his car back?
Yeah.
Right. Now, not only did he get his car back, but because the accident was somebody else's fault, he got the insurance check.
Yes.
All of which you want.
Yes, and my money for repairs that I put in there.
I'd like to see the repairs that you put in the car.
I have all of my receipts.
Just a
right?
second.
I'm sorry.
I just want to see the repairs that you put in the car. Show me.
That's all it is. This is the tow thing.
Well, in February, you did an oil change. It's okay. I don't know what that is. 2 rear lower control arms. What is that?
I don't know. It's some part that goes to the tire to the something. But it won't operate without them.
Well, it did operate without them because you drove them in January and you drove it in February without it.
No.
Because this was done February 11th. So you drove it the whole month of January
Well,
without
they broke. They broke and I had to get them repaired.
I don't know what it is that you want. I'm trying to think of what you want. You had no without authorization. There's no proof that there was any authorization by Mr. Swaggart for this man to sell his car. He decided that Mr. Swaggart owed him some money. He had one of Mr. Swaggart's cars, and he sold you that car without a title, without anything, for $500. I guarantee you that you didn't put insurance on that car when you got it.
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yes.
With what company?
State Farm.
Is State Farm the company that paid on your claim?
No, American Family Insurance did. But I have text messages that he knew that I had the car. He was fine with me having the car. I asked him to...
Oh, well, let me see. Let me see that, please. I'm actually interested in that. Right now, Mr. Swaggart, you're making out like a bandit. You got $2,000 from the insurance company. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor, 1960.
You got $2,000 from the insurance company. You had a $2,000 lien on the car. Do you still have the car?
Yeah, the truck is sitting in my driveway.
What?
The truck is in my driveway. It doesn't run, Your Honor. It's severely damaged beyond what they said it was.
So what? You got $2,000 for it.
Which I had to pay.
Which you had to pay what?
To get my title, to get the actual ownership of the vehicle. I mean, I still took a considerable loss.
You went to jail and you thought that they had repossessed the car, Mr. Swaggart.
Exactly.
That's why you didn't open your eyes and say, gee, my Ford Explorer is gone, because you owed $2,000 on it. Let me see these emails. You say, you know... I'm not so sure that he, based upon these emails, that he knew that this car was sold.
He did know. He was supposed to send me an email saying that he sold it to me so that I could try to get the title from the title on place.
I know. Okay. Okay, so you paid off the car,
Well,
right?
I made a payment. I couldn't pay it off because of the accrued interest during the time that I was incarcerated.
How much of a payment did you make?
$1,500.
And you kept $450 for yourself?
No, I used that to attempt to repair my vehicle, but it was more damage to it than what I assumed it was. I have pictures of the damage if you want to see it, and I also have a report from the insurance agent that looked at the vehicle when it was taken in.
So I have to figure out sort of what's fair.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
they asked me if they could borrow the money. I said yes, but before I did so, I wanted to write an agreement to make sure I got my money back.
Remember that?
I do.
Okay. Did you ever give him back the $750?
Do what?
Did you ever give him back the $750?
real cases, real people. Judge.
Former friend Donnie Williams Swigert owes for the cost of a car and repair costs. Donnie is countersuing for car damages and lost wages.
I want you to think of you renting a car for $250 a month for 3 months. That's $750. You rented a car. You had the use of a car at $250 a month. That's pretty reasonable. So don't think of yourself as being out any money. Just think of yourself as renting a car. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Very good. And I don't see how you're out any money, sir, because you have a counterclaim. And I don't see how you're out any money. You told me when we started this case that you had a title loan out on the car.
Mm-hmm.
The car is worth $2,000. You had $2,000 out. The insurance company paid you $2,000. And you still have the car sitting in the driveway. So now you have no lien on the car anymore. At least you shouldn't have, because you should have. You shouldn't have any lien on the car because the insurance company paid you a check that's almost the same. So you shouldn't have it, and you still have the car.
I don't have a clear title because
you're in a
accrued.
much better place now than you were financially with that car than when you went to jail.
Not necessarily, Your Honor. I was making
not
payments.
your necessarily, mine necessarily. Goodbye.
Please excuse, you may step out.
I did know that there was a title lien on it.
I have no comment.
It's a lesson learned. Don't buy anything without a title.
I have no comment.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kiefer versus Stagner Cornell step forward.
23-year-old Michael Kiefer is suing his former friends, 21-year-old Tristan Stanger and girlfriend, 22-year-old Marissa Cornell, for an unpaid loan to fix their car.
Mr. Kiefer, this is your case, correct? Yes. And who are you?
I'm his fiance.
And are you here to assist him with the paperwork because he has problems with his sight?
Yes.
What's your name?
Angel McGee.
Mr. Kiefer, there came a point when you needed a place to stay.
Yep.
Not yep, that's yes. And you knew the defendants from where?
We've been friends for a while.
So you asked if you could move in with them?
Yes.
What was your rent arrangement with them?
There was no rent arrangement when I moved in.
And when did you move in?
February 4th.
Of this year?
Of 2018.
And how long did you stay there?
Until April 14th, I would say.
Of 2018?
Of 2018, yes.
And while you were there, the defendants either damaged their car, they needed a vehicle. Why did you need a vehicle?
For transportation, so I can get her back and forth to work. Not only that, it's just in case for my dad.
You weren't working at the moment.
No.
Not the momentary. You weren't working at the moment. You're a stay-at-home dad for whom?
My stepkids.
Her children?
Her children, that I claim as my own.
How old are your children?
My son will be 5 in November, and my daughter will be 2 in August.
And how long have you and Mr. Stager been a couple?
We've been off and on for the past 2.5 years.
But he's not the father of your 2-year-old?
No.
No. Does he always stay home and you work?
No, he's working right now, and I'm staying home.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The 4 of you were paying about $350. How much was his one person supposed to pay?
However much she agreed with him.
Then you didn't pay anything for him?
We did. We paid a lot of money just for him to stay.
Well, show me. Show me that you paid anything for him.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Michael Kiefer says former friends Tristan Stanger and girlfriend Marissa Cornell owe for a loan to fix their car. The couple is countersuing for transportation costs, rent, and bills.
So you needed a car. And Mr. Kiefer gave you $750, Mr. Kiefer.
March 1st, 2018.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you giving them the $750.
They had car troubles. Their recent car just broke down, and so they knew that I got my tax return, and they needed another car to get to and from work, and just in case an emergency happened. So they asked me if they could borrow the money. I said yes, but before I did so, I wanted to write an agreement to make sure I got my money back.
Did you write an agreement?
Yes, I did.
May I see it?
Yep.
Yep is not.
Yes, sorry.
Could you show this to the defendants, please? Thank you. Remember that?
I do.
Okay. Did you ever give him back the $750?
Do what?
Did you ever give him back the $750?
No.
Well, then you owe him $750.
I don't-
It's easy. Now, you have a counterclaim. Money owed for transportation, unpaid rent, and bills. The plaintiff came to live with you in February of 2018. Tell me about that. He came. How did you know that he needed a place to stay? Ms. Kiefer, I'm talking to you.
Me?
You.
Up to him because they were mainly friends.
So you never had a discussion with Mr. Kiefer?
About living there? No.
No, only your boyfriend did.
Yeah, and our other roommate.
You have another roommate?
Well, pretty much she's not the owner of the house, but the one that was there when we asked her if we could move in, she was the one that said that he could move in, but it was mainly up to her. It was her choice. Because we would just be paying his rent.
How long did you live there?
We moved in around early December, and we left around late April, early May.
Where did you go?
We separated, and I went to my baby daddy's mom's house, and he went to his aunt's house.
Did you ever get back together?
Yeah.
When?
A couple months after that.
Are you still together?
Right now, yes.
Great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This was in 2018.
Yes.
When you left the house, he was already gone. He left on April 14th.
Yeah.
Did either you or your boyfriend sue him for rent?
No. We thought that if we were paying his for the car.
But he was only there 2 months. Even if you were paying his portion of the rent, he's one person. You're 5.
My rent varied.
No, the 2 of you and your 2 children. How much were you paying in rent?
So rent was
that's not a hard question. How much were you paying in rent?
About $350 just for rent for me and him and the kids.
The 4 of you were paying about $350.
Just for rent, because we split it.
How much was his one person supposed to pay?
However much she agreed with him.
Then you didn't pay anything for him.
We did. We paid a lot of money just for him to stay there.
Well, show me that you paid anything for him.
I can show you the messages that me and her, I asked her how much total that we paid for him.
Can I see what she's talking about, please?
Michaela's the one that let us come to the house.
How much would you say? Hi, Michaela. How much would you say we paid for Michael staying there from January to April? And somebody said, like, $820. Just for Mickey, that includes utilities. Utilities and rent, I probably had about $80 for food. He ate a lot of food. You guys paid for a lot of food, and he ate so much of it. With his food stamp food. That's true. I just needed your confirmation. Okay, you owe him $750. We're done here. Thank you very much. Finished.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Were you sleeping with him?
Yes.
That doesn't mean he gave you a car.
He owed me for driving him around for the last 4 months.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Why?
Because it sounds ridiculous.
Judge Judy.
Suing me for the vehicle, which I was going to counter-sue him back for all the rent we covered.
Because I've given multiple opportunities to pay me back for what I...
All the transportation to his eye doctor, for have surgery and stuff like that.
bought for them, and they decided not to.
Because he had nowhere else to go. He was desperate for a place to live.
He helped me out with a place to stay, but it wasn't really him, it was Michaela.
We turned around and gave him a place to live, and now it's all down the drain.
I mean, I'm very disappointed because they were very good friends to me.
You're fighting over your mother.
There's little love between brother and sister.
This woman stole money from my mother.
Did you go into your sister's church and scream that she had kidnapped your mother?
I have the police report here, and he got
another brother.
What do you want to say?
I just want to point out the character of this man.
You don't have to point it out. I got it.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Daniel Balianu is suing his sister, Marcella Roseberry, for slander, defamation of character, false accusations, and a false restraining order.
Order. All rise. It's case number 132 on the calendar in the matter of Balianu versus Roseberry.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Balianu, this is your sister, and you're all fighting over your mother. How old is your mother?
She's 73.
And how long has she been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease?
I forgot what date, but it was recent.
Who does your mother live with?
She lives alone right now.
You're suing your sister for damages for slander, defamation of character, and filing a false restraining order that she filed on behalf of herself and your mother. Let's start first things first. Slander. You want to tell me how your sister slandered you?
Your Honor, initially opening, I abused my mother, and there was, the judge found that there's no evidence.
Just a second. The court case that you're talking about that involved the slander, is that the same court case for the restraining order?
That's one of the issues, yes.
So that the slander is part of the filing false restraining order?
Yes, Your Honor.
So that I don't have to hear anything other than let me see what your sister filed in an attempt to get a restraining order.
Yes, Your Honor.
These are a lot of papers here. Money owed for slander, which is part of the filing of a restraining order, which I'm going to look at. Your mother would be really happy everybody's fighting. What is your mother's name?
Eva Balianu.
She filed this restraining order.
That is not correct, Your Honor. It was falsely filed by Marcella impersonating my mother. And to correct the record that you said, Your Honor, the restraining order was not on Marcella's behalf.
Just a second.
It was only my mother.
That's not slander. This says the reason the request for a restraining order was made because it says my son Daniel went into my apartment without my permission. He told my other son, Gabe, that he still wants money from me that was given to me by the home to my apartment, but I am afraid he is there because he has been mentally and physically abusive to me.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
So those statements are completely false, and I have the evidence to prove that those statements that were made there are completely false.
What difference does that make? Your mother signed this.
Right. My mother, having the Alzheimer's way back before she said...
Your mother signed this.
That's not my mother's handwriting, and she did not agree to that statement in court in testimony, Your Honor, and I apologize.
Just a second.
Yes.
If what you're saying is you have statement under oath by your mother in a court proceeding that she did not sign this document, I'd be more than happy to see it. Show me.
In page 45 and 46 in the transcript,
Don't tell me what it says. Show it to me.
45 and 46.
That's ridiculous. It doesn't say that she didn't sign this at all. What the court is asking her in this transcript, do you want Daniel to be able to visit with you, come to see you? Like I told you, if you're going to make the decision and protection for, she didn't sign this. Daniel.
Yes.
She never said she didn't sign it. That's your mother. Has nothing really to do with your sister anyway.
Your Honor, I apologize. The statement that was made, supposedly made by my mother, was proven by what you just read, that she wants to visit with me and not afraid of me.
Give this back. That's not what it says at all, sir. What I'm telling you is your mother did not say unequivocally she didn't want to visit with you. She said, if you can protect me, I want to visit with him. That's what she said. So let's get to your next cause of action, Daniel, and don't waste any more of my time.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Defamation of character. Is the defamation of character related to the filing of these documents?
Yes, and additional.
What is the additional document?
In public, on social media, she had defamed me and said that I abused my mother when that never happened.
I'd like to see it. Who's J-H-O-N-B?
Yes, that's my brother.
Your Honor, it's a group conversation that she was involved in it. If you read the whole thing.
I'm not reading the whole thing. It says, Steve, you can't take care of yourself. Steve will be held accountable. You will be put in jail and the family won't miss you. Why? Because you two have done nothing but cause us heartache and trouble. You need to get sober. You need to take responsibility for yourself and your actions. Long, short of the story, grow up and be a man. Don't contact me again because I'm going to get a lawyer and make sure that you and Danny stop making a joke of the law once and for all and be held accountable. That is not slander. They can say exactly what they think. You don't want to have a conversation with them. Don't have a conversation with them.
Your Honor, it was a group text message would defame me.
Do you want them to only say nice things about you in a group chat? Perfect. Now we're done with your case. Now, you have a counterclaim.
Yes, I
and
do.
It says that your brother filed a false claim against you to Protective Services.
Yes, he did.
I'd like to see the claim. What kind of work do you do, Mr. Balanu?
I'm an IT professional, Your Honor.
When you and your mother bought a house several years ago, how much was the house?
About $182,500 when we bought it.
$182,500.
Yes, Your Honor.
In what year?
1996.
Who lived in the house?
It was myself, my mom, and my dad. We bought it together. We're on. Yes.
I'm asking questions.
Okay.
When was the house sold?
December 2008.
How much was it sold? $50,000 in profit.
No, Your Honor. By the time everything was done, we ended up with $100,000.
Had somebody taken out second loans on the house?
We refinanced.
That's either a yes or a no.
I refinanced the house, yes, Your Honor. And I did have some cash to fix the house up, correct.
You refinanced the house. In what year did you refinance the house?
I believe it was sometime in 2003.
How much did you get?
Roughly around $30,000.
What did you do with the money?
I spent it on fixing the house.
In 2008, in whose name was the house?
Mine, alone.
How did that happen?
My mother and my dad signed a quitclaim deed. They were scared off by their church that the government was going to take the house away. My dad passed away.
Careful. Listen to me. Your mother and father signed a quitclaim deed so that the house was solely yours in 2000 and what?
The quitclaim deed was signed on June 6, 2000, Your Honor. I apologize for the date. And then they also gave me a power of attorney the 26th of May, 1998.
Who had put in the money when the house was purchased for $182,500?
I and my mother.
How much money did your mother put in?
About $14,000.
How much money did you put in?
Over $25,000.
Did someone have to the house your mother got?
Only I.
Is that correct?
No.
Now you can speak. You're a sibling, I assume?
Yes, I'm a sibling.
Who directed that your mother get money?
He had an attorney. My mom and my sister had an attorney because they were also on the house.
And how much was it directed that your brother give of the sale of the house to your mother and sister?
None, because it was the attorneys that gave the money. My mom received 42%. He received the other 58%. He did not give her one dime.
Well, your mother got 42%.
Yes.
Of the sale of the house.
Of the sale of the house.
Which at that time was $300,000 and some odd thousand.
Yes.
So your mother got maybe $180,000.
Whatever the math is, yes.
Has she been living off of that money?
Yes. Well, it's been a few years, so I'm not sure if she has it all left or...
She had to pay...
She lives independently at home?
Yes.
What kind of a residence does she live in?
It's a senior living facility.
Who takes care of the finances?
I do.
What's the monthly maintenance in that?
She pays... she's on housing, so her share is $232 a month.
Now, if she's on housing, that means that she had to have dissipated all of her funds in order for her to get money. So that I understand that, did your mother give any of the children money of this $180,000? Look at me. Did your mother give you any part of the $180,000?
She did give me some money, yes.
How much money did she give you?
She gave me...
look at me. Don't look over there.
She gave me a few thousand.
What's a few?
Like 5,000. When I bought my house, but we're paying her back. So...
Did she give you any money?
Not a dime.
You?
Well, she gave both of us for the house, yes.
How much did she give you? She's allowed to give you money.
Yeah, she gave me money
She's
for the
allowed
house.
to give you money. I'm just trying to get what's going on.
Yeah, she gave me money.
How much money did she give you?
She gave me like 5,000 to put down on my house.
And then?
Sometimes she gave me money here and there.
Right.
But, yeah.
Did she ever give you any money?
Not a dime.
Did you know that your mother had given your sister money?
Yeah.
Just want to know. I'm just figuring it out.
Understandably.
You got it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Stay away from your sister.
Your Honor, may I explain?
No. Stay away from your sister. Don't go to her church. Don't go to her place of business. Stay away from her.
People, Judge Judy.
Daniel Balianu says his sister, Marcella Roseberry, slandered and defamed him when she accused him of abusing their mother. Marcella is countersuing for a false claim to Adult Protective Services.
I didn't see Adult Services complaint.
He reported me to APS, and I had to get investigated.
So what? If your brother is saying, my sister is in charge of my mother's finances, and she's in charge of things, she takes care of things, and I know that my sister never had any money, and all of a sudden my sister is buying a house, I think that my sister may be taking advantage of my mother. Investigated. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and nothing was
wrong
found.
with that. That's okay. You don't have to find something bad every time you look, but you're allowed to make a complaint unless it's made maliciously and without any basis in fact. I just found basis in fact, and I hardly know you people, that your mother, who you say has Alzheimer's and dementia, gave you money to buy a house.
Yeah.
And gives you money here and there. And if she gives you money here and there, some people might say, listen, that's a little elder abuse. Listen, your mother would be, if she was a nice lady, and I assume she was a nice lady, would be so miserable to know that her children ended up fighting in court. What do you want to say?
I just want to point out the character of this man.
I know it. I got it.
I appreciate that.
I got the whole picture. Okay?
Your Honor, he even reported me for kidnapping my mom because I moved her from Anaheim to, I have the police report here, and he got a misdemeanor for lying to the police on here.
I know who he is. You're suing him for making a false report to Adult Protective Services. That's what you claim.
Yeah, and the kidnapping one.
That's what you claim. Let me see. You say he called Adult Protective Services and claimed that I had kidnapped and neglected my mother. The claims were proven false and unfounded.
Yes.
On February 10th, he stormed into my church in the middle of church services and charged me, screaming that I owed him money and that I kidnapped my mother in front of 200 people. Did you go to her church?
Your Honor, I went to go
yes
look after my mother, initially to set time with the court to visit my mother. My mother and I made a phone conversation, and yes, we're going to meet at this time. My mom was not found at her house. They took her away specifically for me not to visit with her. The court ordered that I could visit on the certain days, and only certain days, and I have that evidence. And I went to go look for my mother. My mother told me that she was going to the church.
Did you go to the church?
Yes, I did, and looking for my mother.
Looking for your mother doesn't mean that...
Yes, Your Honor.
Looking for your mother. She's at church. Maybe she's in church. Going to a church and screaming in front of 200 people at her is not looking for your mother. Did you go in to your sister's church and in front of 200 people scream that she had kidnapped your mother?
It was after church when everybody was talking in the church.
Your Honor, I actually have audio of that.
I'd like to hear it.
Okay.
most likely they're not confided in because all of our living couples are over here to the
That was it.
Did you request a protective order to keep him away from you?
I requested it. I didn't put all my evidence together, so...
So the answer is
I requested it for myself, yeah.
But then it was dismissed.
I didn't know that he filed a restraining order on me, and it was dismissed because he...
Mr. Gallo, stay away from your
false.
sister. Stay away from your sister.
Your Honor, may I explain?
No. Stay away from your sister. Don't go to her church. Don't go to her place of business. Stay away from her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This woman stole money from my mother, and she abuses my mother. She took that money from her, $50,000 that I gave her. She lied to the government to...
Are you finished?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Daniel Balianu claims his sister, Marcella Roseberry, falsely accused him of abusing their mother.
Now you've been warned. Now she has a tape that you've been warned to stay away from her. If you do not stay away from her, she's going to get a protective order, and you're going to violate it because that's part of your nature, and you'll find yourself in jail. Stay away from her.
Your Honor, I'm here to plead my case to you, and I would love for you to hear me.
We're done.
We're done. My sister stole $50,000 from my mom. That money was not given to her.
Just a second.
And I apologize, Your Honor.
Hey, listen to me. I want you to understand something. How old are you?
I'm 52 years old.
Shut up.
And this woman, and she took that money from her, $50,000 that I gave her. Your Honor, this woman is a thief, and she had put my mom in a home where government pays subsidies, and this woman took that money. It wasn't given to her. She lied to the government, including my to put my mother in a place like that.
Are you finished?
Your Honor,
listen to me.
My mother loves me, Your Honor. My mother loves me, and she takes, and I can take care of her. I took care of her.
I can't help you. If what you are seeking is to be declared the guardian of your mother, you can listen to what I'm saying to you carefully. If what you are seeking is to be declared, don't speak again, ever, here. If what you believe appropriately for your mother would be for you to be her guardian, her caretaker, there is a family court where you can be declared the guardian of someone who is incompetent. Your mother can give away any amount of money that she wants, and she doesn't necessarily just, I told you, I don't want to hear you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, amount of money that she wants, and the money that your mother, if it's true, gave to your sister or your sister took from her is none of your business unless you are your mother's quiet guardian or you're the executor of her estate. It's not your job. And if you want to see your mother, and if you believe that you are being deprived of the ability to see your mother in spite of a court order, file for a violation of that court order. I'm not listening to anything more about money, which is always the root of everything. Follow the money, not the welfare of the person. Follow the money. What riles you is the money that your sister stole from my mother, not your business.
Your Honor, I have to speak.
You didn't hear what I said to you. I'm not
She stole
listening
money
to
from
you
my mom, and it didn't hit her bank account, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You worked for the plaintiffs, taking care of their father. When did you start taking care of him?
14 months ago.
You can't remember when you started to work. I wouldn't let you take care of a goldfish.
Judge Judy.
I knew the judge would see right through him because it's not true.
That money never hit my mom's bank account.
The court gave her the money. He never gave her any money, and nobody stole $50,000 from her.
They're not allowing our family to be together because of hatred for me.
This is not right. My mom is too sick for this.
I will fight them in court until the truth comes out.
You worked for the plaintiffs, taking care of their father.
Another person's life was in her hands.
When did you start taking care of him?
14 months ago, January-ish.
No.
2018 or 2019, sorry.
She just doesn't know when.
You worked in January, beginning, middle, or end?
Probably about the beginning-ish, middle.
If you can't remember when you started to work, I wouldn't let you take care of a goldfish.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
John Dick and his sister Casey Goddard are suing their former employee, Lisa Mayer, for an unpaid loan and attorney fees.
Order. All rise. It's case number 140 on the count.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Miss Mayer, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
You were a caregiver for the plaintiff's father,
Yes.
who was ill. And there came a time, Miss Mayer, well, let's go back a little bit. When did you start taking care of him?
14 months ago.
Don't look at them.
Yeah.
No, don't look. Shh. Don't speak. Month
Right after
and year.
2018.
Month.
January, or 2019, sorry.
Not right.
After Christmas. We got through, I'm sorry.
Just look at me.
January.
You should.
It was January 8th, the 2019.
No, don't look at.
I'm sorry.
Let's start again. When did you start working for the plaintiff's father as a
January
caretaker?
2019.
Had you worked for an agency?
I worked for Southridge Nursing and Rehab.
And when did you, according to you, when did you leave his employ?
It was in around April 4th.
So in total, according to you, you worked in January, beginning, middle, or end?
Probably about the beginning-ish, middle.
Those are two different things. Beginning and middle are two different things. Was it the beginning of January or the end of January?
Beginning of January.
So you worked for him January, February, and March, 3 months.
Well, longer than that.
So what are you looking for?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I worked there, it was after Christmas. We interviewed almost a year.
Well,
Okay.
because I'm getting frustrated.
I'm sorry.
Because either there's something wrong with you, because I wouldn't let you take care, if you can't remember when you started to work, I wouldn't let you take care of a goldfish. Do you understand?
Okay.
All right.
It's fine.
You don't have to speak to anybody. You're not to speak to anybody.
Okay.
Just start to concentrate when you started to work and when you finished.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
In that 4 weeks, you're claiming that you worked $8,500 worth in that 1 month from.
ma'am.
That's what your claim is.
And later today,
Did you live there in June?
Yes, I did. Her husband had come down and got belligerent and in my face, and I told her what had occurred and that I would just keep my rent and move out.
You can't just keep your rent and move out.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
John Dick and his sister, Casey Goddard, claim former employee Lisa Mayer owes for a car and attorney fees. Lisa is countersuing for unpaid wages and slander.
Stay seated. So did you figure out when you started this job?
July 3rd, 2018.
And when did you leave the job?
April 4th.
On what date did you take money for a car from and 19?
Yes, 19.
And 4 weeks later, were you fired or did you quit?
I quit.
That's what this case is about, that you worked for the plaintiffs, taking care of their father for a period of now for 9 months. Then they gave you $3,500 because you didn't have transportation. And then 4 weeks later, you quit. Of course, not returning any of the $3,500 to them. Now, your counterclaim suggests that they owe you, in addition to the $3,500, which you say you were going to work off, were going, because I read your,
Yes, ma'am.
which I read your answer. You said the idea was that I was going to work it off. So in addition, in that 4 weeks, you're claiming that you worked off the $3,500 and an additional $5,000. So in that 1 month, because that's what you're counterclaiming for $5,000. So in that 1 month, you worked $8,500 worth in that 1 month. From,
No, ma'am.
That's what your claim is. I read your answer and you said the idea was, it was sort of an advance. They agreed to give me $3,500 to Then I suffered a stroke, and I still managed to go to work. And I have lupus, so for a couple of days I asked off, and I didn't want to put their father at risk, and they didn't care about my well-being, so I quit.
That is not how it particularly went down. It was a couple of months prior to that my pay had went down. We had agreed to put me on salary, and someone had to be let go.
Just a second. Your salary went down a couple of months before.
I was getting paid hourly, and then overtime was kicking in, so my money had went up a good bit. Well, they had a family member leave, which put them kind of in a bind. So I said, I will take a pay cut. We'll do this. We'll go to salary so that we can get things figured out to get...
Just a second. So you agreed to take a salary?
Yes.
In what month?
In February.
So in February, you agreed to take a salary?
Yes.
When in February?
This one is February 9th.
2/9, you agreed to take a salary. In what amount?
For $600 a week.
Your Honor, that is not true.
I don't want to ask you anything. Please, let me do my job.
Yes, ma'am.
For $600 a week? Did they pay you $600 a week?
For 2 weeks.
Okay, so they paid you $600, 2 weeks in February, for 18th to the 25th, which is almost the end of February. So they paid you in February $600. Then we come to March. Just a minute. Then we come to March. What happened in March?
We let someone go, and they were going over budget and trying to figure out how to maintain me and the other people working, trying to be feasible.
We're in March.
In March. And they said, we can't afford to pay you that. So we sat down, we went over numbers, which is right here where he wrote it all down, and it was dropped down to $400.
$400 a week?
A week.
Okay, so they were going to pay you $400.
$425, my bad, and $25 minus the car note.
Is it at that time that they gave you the $3,500 for the car?
That was given to me on March 2nd, yes.
Was the same date?
It was around, it was in the same week. So, but not the same day.
week. So your salary was dropping down to $400, and the $25 was supposed to be payback for the car.
Yes.
So the car payment, which was $3,500, according to what you just told me, was a loan that you were going to pay back at the rate of $25 a week.
Yes.
So far, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you pay $420?
Did I pay?
Yes. Did they pay?
They paid me.
They paid $400?
They paid me
$425
was taken out for the car.
Was taken out for the car.
Yes.
So it was $425 and you got $400? Or?
I got $400.
Okay, so they took out $25 for the car.
Yes, ma'am.
So you paid $25 for the car.
Yes.
In the month of March.
Yes.
For a total of $100. Is not an answer.
I'm sorry.
And then you quit.
Yes, ma'am.
So then you owe them $3,400.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, then why are we here?
We had agreed that because with...
Now I'm just buying what you just told me. They didn't say a word.
When I brought to them the fact that I could not survive on what we were doing and feasibly...
Just a second. When did you bring that to their attention?
I brought it
after
to
March?
In March, yes.
Well, you made the deal.
The deal was I was supposed to be bumped back up in pay and had this stroke. And trying to maintain and keep my life going, taking care of their father, I was working...
You owe them $3,400. That's so far.
Yes.
That's so far. And they're also, since you quit, which I get, now you work for 4 weeks and then you quit. Now, they also say that they had to hire an attorney to...
No, ma'am.
South Beach, where are you working?
I am not. I'm in college.
Who do you live with?
My fiance.
How do you support yourself?
I have financial aid from school.
Well, college is a very serious commitment.
It is a very
Are you telling me
commitment.
that college is easier than getting a job?
I can't... guidelines, I'm not released from my doctor, so I cannot go get a job. They won't release me. I can't do lifting.
You owe them $3,400. Now, show me so far what it cost you to get an attorney to sue her for $3,400.
Your Honor, she actually made...
Would you do me a favor? Show me. And if what you're telling me is she made more than $100 in payments,
how much? $150 in payments.
Okay,
yes,
so she owes you $3,350.
The well, I'll get with that one in a minute.
Let me tell you, Miss Mayor, while
yes, ma'am.
you may present a sympathetic picture, it's not an honest picture, Because if you're living with your boyfriend and you realize that you can't pay them back, sell the car.
That's not the...
Sell the car. That's what you do.
I had every intention of giving the money. I got word back as far as the job that I was previously at. They're saying that I took from them and that I wrecked the car. It's, I don't know.
That's a whole jumble. You quit 4 weeks later after they gave you money for the car.
After I went to sit down and talk, and instead of being talked to about it, it was a verbal, I felt attacked. I had suffered from the stroke, told them, brought it to their attention that I can't make it. I have insurance to pay and everything else. I never wanted to leave their dad. I loved their dad very much. I loved them. It wasn't an issue. It was just a give. I was giving everything I had, and then when I brought it to their attention that this was not...
They weren't caring enough.
No.
That's what happens, Miss Mayor. When you loan someone money, and if the person can't pay back the loan, or it becomes difficult, they will always find a reason that it's the person who made the loan, it's their fault. Either they have the money, it's not important to them, they disrespected my aunt, they disrespected me, they called my child a name, they weren't sympathetic enough with my physical condition. There's always a reason that a delinquent borrower will rationalize why they haven't paid the loan. All I said to you was, if you found them to be not compassionate people about your physical situation, sell the car and give them the money. Okay. You don't quit and not pay them and then say, well, they weren't sympathetic enough, I had a stroke, and I really could
care of him.
Well,
I did a great job taking care of him. There's
Your Honor.
Not one. I could have stayed and continued.
What are you giving me here?
On the back, it should be there should be a check on there that we had to write to that law firm.
$3,700 judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. But did you understand what I just said? You don't have to say anything to me.
Yes, ma'am.
I issued a judgment in your favor for the full amount that you're requesting, $3,700. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It is what it is.
Judge Judy's fair and she's smart.
Because they loaned me the money.
She pretty much just left us high and dry.
It's just a disagreement.
We're pretty sad that this situation come to this.
I love that man.
She took such good care of our dad, and we got duped.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Stevens versus DeCorley, step forward.
Tamara Stevens is suing her former friend, Crystal DeCorley, for unpaid rent, property damage, and a haircut. Crystal has a countersuit for property damage and slander.
Ms. Stevens, I've read your complaint, and it appears to me that you and Mr. Corley were friends.
Yes, ma'am.
You had a history together of some substance abuse, but you have maintained, according to you, sobriety since for a very long time. You, Corley, as well, had maintained her sobriety, and you decided to let her rent this rental property. Is it a house?
It's a house, yes.
And it's not far from where you live?
No, it's only 2 houses down.
And how large is it?
It's 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath.
And who did you live there with?
My daughter, and at one point, my 2 nieces.
And what was your rent?
$500 a month.
When did you move in?
June of 2017. I gave a $500 deposit and paid $500 a month rent.
And when did you move out?
This past weekend.
Just this past weekend?
Yes. She was supposed to be out June 16th. I evicted her. I evicted her June 16th. She was supposed to be out July 16th. They both agreed to allow me to stay until Sunday.
Where is the house?
The house is just 2 houses down from mine. It's on...
In what city?
In Salem, Missouri.
When did you do a walkthrough on the house?
We did a walkthrough yesterday morning, and then I gave her 24-hour notice, and we did a walkthrough last week also.
She moved out yesterday. When did you do the walkthrough?
Oh, she moved out Sunday. Sunday. So I did Monday morning.
When did you file your lawsuit?
I filed my lawsuit 2 days after I filed my my eviction.
You filed your small claims lawsuit after...
Before my rent was even...
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There's instant justice and there's ridiculously instant justice, and give them notice. That clearly didn't happen.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tamara Stevens says former friend Crystal DeCorley owes for rent, property damage, and a haircut.
Okay, you filed your small claims lawsuit when you filed your eviction, I'd like to see the lawsuit that you filed.
I had to do an amended one after I found out more damage. Would you like that one also?
When did you find more damage?
For the 17th, or the, what date was it that I did this? The 18th. It was after I did the 24-hour, I gave her the advance notice, and I did the walkthrough and realized there was huge holes in the walls.
I'm not happy about,
many of which
I'm
were there
letting
when
you
I
know
moved
that
in.
I'm not happy about this case and the damage. There's instant justice and there's ridiculously instant justice. And if you move out on a Sunday in Missouri and on Tuesday you're on a plane coming to Los Angeles to try a lawsuit on Wednesday and you have to serve somebody a summons and give them notice, that clearly didn't happen. Not if she moved out on Sunday. So I'm not hearing any evidence with regard to damage. Zero.
Okay.
Zippity-doo did her in what month?
I evicted her in June.
Had she paid rent up until June? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes, ma'am. She paid May, and then June she told me she was not going to pay rent because I was threatened with eviction by her husband.
That's all right. Did you live there in June?
Yes, I did.
And you did not pay rent?
Her husband had come down and got belligerent and in my face, threatening me with eviction, and 2 days prior to her asking for the rent, and I told her what had occurred and that I would just keep my rent and move out since I was tired of being threatened.
You can't just keep your rent and move out. You didn't pay in June, and you also lived there in July.
And justly, I've been asking for repairs that were needed to be done on the house prior to me even moving in.
Listen to me. I'm not taking any counterclaim from you. Zero.
Okay.
Because you two are not going to be able to demonstrate to me that you served her with a counterclaim and gave her appropriate notice. So the only thing that I will hear is rent for June and part of July. You have the following alternative. If you want to press the entire case, which includes damage, I will dismiss the case without prejudice, and you can go back to court in Missouri.
Well, there was other rent also. She owed me rent from, she was supposed to pay me $300 with taxes, and I have proof of it also.
Fine. Okay. I will hear a claim for rent in June and any other rent that you claim she owes you.
Okay.
Because that lawsuit, you said you filed at the same time you filed the eviction.
I did, and for the bed bugs also.
Understand this very carefully. I am hearing rent.
Just rent. Okay.
Period.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, did you short her on rent the month of either January or February?
It was in February, and
the answer is yes.
Yes, we had come to an agreement. I have since also gave her $100 of that money back. And that is true.
So you owe her $200?
Yes.
And you owe her for the month of June $500?
Well, my rent isn't due until the 16th of the month. On the 10th, I have the lease right here. According to the eviction notice, it's due on the 16th.
You lived there the month of June. Did you pay any rent in June?
No.
Then you owe for the month of June. That's $700. $200 for the month of February and $500 now. Did you give her security deposit?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
How much?
$500.
You are not requesting that back.
And she had the bed bugs issue, and I honestly felt like that $500 deposit could have been used as my last month rent. That's why I chose to try to get out before.
No, you don't talk about any security deposit. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $700. Thank you very much.
What about the hairdo she owes me for, ma'am?
We're done.
That was a gift. That was a gift. What about the damages that I lived through?
Always are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The warning.
Never taken somebody whose own parent kicked him out, which is what you did.
Yes, ma'am.
The regret.
The room was trashed. How did it get trashed?
Judge Judy.
It is what it is. Huge holes all in the wall. There were repairs that needed to be done to that house before I ever moved into it. All my brand new wood floors I just had refinished are disgusting. They didn't get their way. It's just going to take a lot of work. Oh, we'll never be friends again. I will never, ever rent a family or friends ever again.
The warning.
never taken somebody whose own parent kicked him out, which is what you did.
Yes, ma'am.
The expense.
I did not charge her rent because she was in high school.
Did she provide her own food?
No.
The regret.
She actually took care of you.
And I was very grateful.
And then there came a time when the room was trashed. How did it get trashed?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Kathleen Ellis is suing her daughter's friend, 19-year-old Taryn Burnset, for unpaid rent and damages.
Order. All rise. Now, it's case number 113 on the calendar, the matter of Ellis versus Burnset.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Miss Ellis, who is this?
This is my daughter, Brittany.
Okay, so here we have another one of those. No good deed goes unpunished. I never taken somebody whose own parent kicked him out. Which is what you did.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sure that there are situations where that works out. I'm sure there are also don't send me letters, notes, cards, emails, that you've done it successfully. I only see the stories that are not successful. So that's the parameters of my information. Your mother kicked you out when you were how old?
17.
And you were still in high school?
Yes, ma'am.
In what month did she kick you out?
I believe April. I'm not sure.
And you were a friend of Miss Ellis let you move into her house?
Yes, ma'am.
Into a basement apartment that she had recently refurbished?
Yes.
Was comfortable?
It was very nice, and I was very grateful.
Terrific. And it may turn out okay for you. You graduated high school and lived with Miss Ellis from April until when the following year?
April 13th.
So you lived there for 1 year?
Yes, ma'am.
After you graduated high school. Did you get a job or did you go to school after high school?
I kept the same job that I had in high school. It was at McDonald's. Some point during it, though, I quit. It was very cold, like Minnesota. It was an extreme winter this year, and I went on a graph to see the wind chill and the temperature, how long of a walk it would be before you got, like, frostbite, and it was within, like, 20 minutes.
So you quit the job. When did you quit the job?
I'm sorry, I don't have records of that, but it was for a while.
So you were living, I assume, rent-free while you were in school?
Yes.
When you graduated from school that summer, it wasn't freezing cold. Did you work during the summer?
Yes.
Did you contribute to the house during that summer?
Yes, I tried in every way that I could to show that I was being considerate and that I had the utmost respect.
I'm talking about financially.
Financially?
Summer
no.
after you graduated? No. What about in September? Or pay any rent to Miss Ellis?
I never paid rent, but I gave her, like, a gift around Christmas.
So she let you live with her for a year, even when you were working, So that was pretty nice. Why don't you tell me what happened and why we're here today?
Yes, ma'am. I believe the main reason is for, like, the disrespect, because she saw that it was, like, in chaos, the room, and she refurbished it when her son moved out, because I imagine her son left it.
Don't tell me what you imagine. She refurbished it when you moved in. And then there came a time when the room was trashed?
Around Mother's Day, sorry.
Well, Mother's Day is in May.
Yes, in May.
So then you were still living there in May? So it wasn't April that you moved out. You moved out sometime later.
I moved out in April. It was May of the year before. I had planned to buy a new mattress, and sorry.
Okay. So the room was trashed shortly after you moved in.
It wasn't shortly after I moved in, because...
Well, after the room was trashed, Miss Ellis let you stay there.
Not after, no. I'm really bad with times.
Well,
but,
then I'm going to have to stop with you. You are very bad with times. Either
yes,
she let you stay for a year after the room was trashed, or after the room was trashed, she asked you to leave.
It was a year before. It was trashed for a long time, but I just, like, bought a new...
Trashed.
So her son didn't like me. There were a lot of times, I think I might have evidence of this, where he tried to get me kicked out because he didn't like me.
Just tell me how the room got trashed.
I believe that he did it out of, like, a vindictive feeling. I don't know. He wanted me to move out multiple times, and I knew that if I left, because I had to leave when he came over, so I left my room without, and I tried to, like, I moved all my clothes because I didn't want him messing with my clothes. But, yeah.
How old is your son?
It was just trash.
My son is 21.
Where does he live?
He lives in Minneapolis. He moved out of my home a year before Taryn moved in.
And where did he move out to go?
To Minneapolis.
What does he do there?
He, right now, I believe, is cleaning homes.
So you're not sure what he's doing?
No.
And he moved out when he was 18-ish?
Yes.
How often did he come home after he
He
moved
has
out?
not been to my house in at least a year and a half. It was Mother's Day of the prior year.
Stand up. Your first name is?
Brittany.
Brittany, what's your brother's name?
Mark.
Were you home when Mark came home?
Yes.
Mother's Day a year and a half ago?
Yes.
Who else was home?
Me and my sister and my mom. And then he brought his girlfriend, too.
And when he came home with his girlfriend, the defendant left?
Yes. She didn't want to fight with my brother because they've had problems in the past.
Sleep?
They didn't spend the night.
How come? It's not an answer.
I'm not.
We're here, and I'm asking you, what kind of an incident happened with your brother, your mother, and or his girlfriend a year and a half ago?
My brother and my mom got into a fight, and he left and went back to Minneapolis with his girlfriend.
They got into a fight with you present?
Yes.
You were present?
Yes.
They got into a fight about what?
They butt heads a lot. They
Of course.
disagree a lot.
I knew that as soon as he moved out when he was 18.
Yes.
And hadn't been back for a year and a half. So I know something happened because that just makes sense. I have a lot of children, they have friends, so we sort of know that. So on Mother's Day, what were they fighting about?
I don't recall what the exact fight was.
I do recall my son had brought illegal drugs into my house, and I had an issue with that.
That they were using in your house?
Yes.
That they thought it was just okay?
Yeah.
Disrespect was appalling. Sorry.
Now we're going to get to the case. Okay. Now I've got the scenario. The defendant moved out relatively recently. April.
He moved.
No.
She moved out April 13th.
Right. And what are you suing her for?
I am suing her January, February, March, part of April, and for the damages that were caused to the mattress.
Okay. I'd like you to tell me, January, February, and March, she hadn't paid you rent in a year, and you didn't evict her. Now, tell me what happened in January that you're suing for January's rent. She had never paid you rent before.
She paid me rent November and December.
How much?
She paid $200 a month. Before that, I did not charge her rent because she was in high school.
Well, she wasn't in high school. She wasn't in high school August, September, October, and November.
Right. And that's on me that I did not charge her rent for those months.
Did she provide her own food?
No.
Miss Ellis says that you gave her some money for rent for 2 months. Is that true?
I gave her money around Christmas because she was struggling. I 100% would have. I gave her $400, and I would have given her rent if that's what it had been. But if it would have been, then she says that it was 2 months, and then I suppose it would have went on 2 months.
Don't tell me what you suppose.
Okay.
You gave her $400. And in January is when you stopped working because you told me about this wind chill and how long it was going to take you to work, so it was wind chill. So you didn't pay her for January, February, and March, for sure. Okay. Now, what evidence do you have that...
Photographs of the mattress.
I'll take a look at the mattress. There you go.
I also have the receipt showing when I purchased the mattress.
I'd like to see that, too. Okay, this damage to the mattress that I'm looking at, Ms. Burnson, is not damage that the sun caused. Have you seen the photographs?
I haven't, but it was really bad, so...
Well, it's not damage that the sun caused.
I mean...
Okay. I believe that you had an agreement at a certain time to pay her rent, which is why you paid her rent and why you had this elaborate story of wind chill. So I believe that you owe her for 3 months' rent, which is $600. And I believe that you owe her for a mattress, which is $372, leaving a total of $972. I think that that's most reasonable on Miss Ellis's behalf because she actually took care of you for more than a year. She took care of your electricity, she took care of your heat, she took care of your rent, she took care of your food, she took care of whatever had to be taken care of for you. So I certainly believe that that's a minimal cost. Now, you have a counterclaim for you moved out because you couldn't take it with you.
It was changed to $300.
Okay.
It
Well,
was
let's
just
change
books.
it. Let's change it to nothing.
Okay.
$972. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think Judy was very insightful, and I'm happy.
Thought it was an excellent decision.
Extremely disrespectful.
Even though I didn't do the damages, I 100% would have replaced it so she didn't have to do this.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Seifert versus Seifert. Step forward.
Leroy Seifert is suing his former sister-in-law, Judy Seifert, for an unpaid loan to pay for his brother's funeral and the return of family heirlooms.
Mr. Seifert, the defendant is your brother's widow.
Yes.
How long were they married?
2 years.
Did his previous wife pass away, or were they divorced?
He didn't have a previous wife.
So the defendant is his only wife?
Yes, ma'am.
How old was he?
My brother was 55 or 6.
55.
55.
When he died?
When he died.
And his only survivor, therefore, was his wife?
Correct.
Had no children?
No children.
I'm just getting everything
Okay.
straight.
Yeah.
Stepchildren. He had stepchildren.
Well, just so that
But
you know,
none-
shh, don't speak. In the law, when they're not even stepchildren anymore.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you know where this was before your husband died?
Yes,
Not we. How did it come into Mr. Seifert's possession?
We took it over there for safekeeping.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Leroy Seifert says his late brother's wife, Judy Seifert, owes for the cost of his brother's funeral and for the return of family heirlooms. Judy is countersuing for a gold pendant and threats.
Okay. In any event, you married him for 2 years.
No.
Did you?
We were married for 5.
You were married for 5 years. In
Yes.
what year did you marry?
2014.
We went to the wedding.
Shh. It doesn't make any difference, sir. It really doesn't make any difference. What you're asking Miss Seifert for is, you say that she owes you for a loan that you made to her
Correct.
for your brother's funeral.
Yes, ma'am.
When your husband died, Miss Seifert, was it after an illness or was it sudden?
No, it was very unexpected.
Did he have any insurance?
Yes.
Were you the beneficiary of his policy?
Yes.
How much money did you inherit as a result of that?
A total of $7,700.
You inherited when he passed away?
Insurance money?
No, of anything.
Our home?
Was it his home initially?
No, it was ours.
You bought it together?
Yes, we did.
Okay. How long in total did you know your husband before
Total?
he passed away? Yes.
Approximately 10 years.
And of the 10 years, how many of those years did you live together?
Before we got married, about 4.
So this house was purchased as a married couple?
Yes.
Is that right?
I think yes. Yes.
Okay. And did you bring certain property with you?
Yes.
And I'm sure your husband had certain things that he brought with him. Do you know that it's your responsibility, not his brothers and siblings, to take care of his funeral?
Right.
You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Did you take care of his funeral? Did you pay for it?
Yes, I did.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid him my husband's Corvette, or our Corvette, and a boat and trailer that we had together.
How much was the funeral, sir?
I have it on receipts here, ma'am. I'm not exactly sure what the total was, but it was around $3,000.
Well, here, your lawsuit is for money owed on a loan for
Correct.
brother's funeral expenses.
She came to me and asked me, she told me she didn't have any money to pay for his funeral expenses.
He offered.
And asked if I would...
Don't speak.
At first I said no, because how are you going to pay me back? She said, I have a life insurance policy for him that he got for his final expenses that he had taken out 2 years ago, she told me.
Fine.
And so I said, okay, well,
That's
under those...
really odd. He's a young man to do that.
I know that. I didn't know about it until she told me about it that day at my house. And so I said, well, under that situation, I will help then.
Great.
If you can pay me
I want
back.
to see exactly how much you gave her.
I didn't give it to her. I paid for everything and made all the arrangements.
Then just tell me what it was.
Okay, well,
Not
I have...
about. I don't want to hear an about.
Okay.
I have the cost of the memorial here.
I have $2601.88 on one receipt. I only have 2 receipts, and another one here for $1,530.
For
Those
what?
are the two.
For
this
what?
is for the plot of land that we've buried him in, and the expenses at the cemetery, and this is for the funeral home for the memorial.
2601, and the other one was for 1,000.
530. And then there were some other expenses involved in that, too. She came to me and asked me for money for the priest. There was also the death certificate she asked me to purchase for her, and a luncheon after his funeral, and that's it. That's it.
You took everybody to lunch. That's your business. 4131 are those two amounts put together. That's for the funeral service, and you got the money for that, $7,700, so you have to pay him the $4,100.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I mean, I have a brother. I have things of value. I have jewelry. I live with my husband. I wouldn't think of taking a piece of jewelry and giving it to my brother and saying, would you hold this for safekeeping?
That's what...
I have my own house.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Leroy Seifert says his late brother's wife, Judy Seifert, owes for the cost of his brother's funeral and for the return of family heirlooms. Judy is countersuing for a gold pendant and threats.
Now, your husband took out the policy because he didn't want anybody else to have to pay for his final resting. Pay attention.
Yes.
That's it. You have to take care of it, because the other part of your lawsuit is you say you want the value of family heirlooms that they have. Well, you can't have that.
He had.
You understand that? Yeah. That all belongs to her. It's in their home. You can't go in picking around and saying, well, that was my grandmother's, that was my grandfather's. They belong to her husband.
Okay.
And she is his survivor.
Correct.
That's why she has to pay for the funeral.
Correct.
Right?
So.
She also gets to keep all of his property. That's one of the reasons she has to pay. That's easy. Now, you have a counterclaim. Money owed for a gold pendant.
Right.
What gold pendant?
The same one we were talking about.
May I see it?
Yes, ma'am. My father had purchased back in the 70s. It belonged to our family, and one day my brother came over to my house about a year and a half before he died and said that, I'd like you to have this. I want to get a loan on it. And I said, for how much? He said, well, I don't want to keep it at the house because I think Judy might sell it. Okay? And so I said, well, what do you want for it? He said $500, and I gave him the $500 because I'd seen it many times at our family home when we were children.
Just a second. Is what you're telling me, this came into your possession before your brother died?
Correct.
Did you know where this was before your husband died?
Yes,
Not we.
My husband and I.
How did it come into Mr. Seifert's possession?
We took it over there for safekeeping.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It's
Give
true.
this back to the plaintiff, please.
It is true.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, you're an adult. Your husband was...
Big brother.
Just a second. What would be the reason to take it to his house for safekeeping? You're an adult. Your husband was an adult. What would be the reason to take it to his house for safekeeping? I mean, I have a brother. I have things of value. I have jewelry. I live with my husband. I wouldn't think of taking a piece of jewelry and giving it to my brother and saying, would you hold this for safekeeping? I have my own house with my own safety. What do you want to say? What are you jumping out of your skin? What you're going to say is going to be ridiculous.
Chase Ann?
Come on.
Yeah.
I want to say there's people stealing things from her house.
Well, that would
right
make
before he died.
That would make...
That's why my stepfather brought it over to his brother's house.
Who knows who was stealing? Who was stealing things from their house? Sit down.
Friends.
Sit down.
Not friends.
Okay. It's yours.
Thank you.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,131. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
Musicians with a lack of harmony.
Did you fall on her violin?
Not that I remember.
And an off-key solo.
Hold up.
Hits a sour note.
Hold up. Hold up.
Judge Judy.
It came out exactly like I expected it to.
I paid him, more than paid him for what I owed him.
I came here and told the truth, and that's the way it worked.
He's lying.
I believed she was part of our family. I thought there would never be a problem. That's why I didn't get receipts for everything.
Pendant was ours.
Probably get it in writing. Would be the best.
I hope that everything is fine.
Were you playing in a band?
I was.
And she was playing in the same band.
Musicians with a lack of harmony.
Did you fall on her violin?
Not that I remember.
Does that thing still work?
It's damaged beyond repair, and no, it is not playable. It would be almost impossible to buy another violin the same.
And an off-key solo
Hold up.
hits a sour note.
Hold up. Hold up.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Shelley Beard is suing Michael Locantano for destroying her violin when he fell on it.
Order. All rise. It's case number 111 on the calendar in the matter of Beard versus Locantano.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir.
Violin instructor,
And where do you work from?
a school in Delaware,
And how long have you worked there?
almost 15 years.
It is your claim that the defendant broke this musical instrument.
Correct.
And that's your violin.
Yeah.
When did you purchase it?
In 2002,
From whom?
the maker, Jeffrey Owington.
Where is the maker?
He is deceased.
How much did you pay for it in 2002?
$11,500.
And you insured it, starting in what year?
2002.
You insured it for how much?
$11,500.
And after this incident, the insurance paid you $11,500.
Correct.
And what you're suing now the defendant for is $3,500 because that's what you say its value is now.
Correct.
And who appraised it for you?
I took it to a dealer in Philadelphia.
Is that the dealer?
No.
Well, then.
I have the appraisal letter.
No, I don't read a letter from an appraiser.
Okay.
Did you purchase a new violin if you're a violin teacher?
I haven't yet. I'm in the process of looking for another violin. It's kind of an extensive process to buy a fine violin. I have to try many of them. This particular violin, the maker is no longer alive, so it would be almost impossible for me to buy another violin the same.
Well, that may be, Miss Beard, but in order to replace this violin, this is what it's going to cost.
Correct.
But I don't know how much you're going to spend because you haven't found a violin yet. Maybe you'll find a violin for $9,000. Maybe they're making good ones now for $8,000. And then you will have made money on your insurance. That's a possibility, right?
Right.
It is a possibility. So we don't deal in possibilities.
The violin, a fine violin, it has appreciated. They don't...
Well, that may be. But we're not engaged in a guessing game. You placed a value on the instrument of $11,500. Now, you had the option since 2002 to increase the value. Let's say I own a diamond ring. And over the years, the diamond appreciates. I paid $10,000 for it in 2002, but now it's valued at $20,000. Well, what I would probably do if I had insurance was increase my insurance, like you increase an umbrella insurance policy, you increase if your home increases in value, you increase the value and you pay the extra $2 a month in insurance. But you valued this instrument at $11,500. If you're saying I can't replace it for less than a comparable violin that I found, well, maybe I would listen to you, but you haven't done that yet.
Well, I do have paperwork on a violin by the same maker that was sold in 2017 for $14,000, and the dealer who sold it said that because he's no longer alive and not making the current replacement value for this make of violin is $15,500.
I know that you want to read that to me. But it's not relevant. You set the value for this violin.
I didn't set the maker set it in 2002.
No, you set it when you got insurance.
I have to send an appraisal letter to insurance. The insurance company won't.
That's okay.
And I have that letter.
What I said to you is over the years, if it's increased in value, which is what you're alleging, then you increase your insurance. Right now, I don't have a value to replace that with because you haven't said to me, I had to replace it. The $11,500 didn't cover the replacement. This is what I paid for it. I bought a new violin for $12,000. But right now, you got $11,500. And if you find a violin for $5,000, then you've pocketed $6,000 from the insurance company, right? Right.
I'm still lost. I had a loss.
You have a violin.
Because
and you have
$6,000. I have equity.
And you have $6,000. That's not the loss.
Appreciation equity.
Okay. All right. I just, curiosity. Oh, okay. Well, that's a very good answer. Were you a little bit loaded?
No, ma'am.
Were you playing in a band?
I was.
Okay, and she was playing in the same band?
We're in the same band, that's correct.
And you fell that day. What day?
Yes.
This is May of this year, right?
The 25th of May, correct.
5/25. So we're only about 4 weeks in. Miss Beard, when did you file your insurance claim?
I have to look exactly.
Right
I
away
filed
in
the
June.
claim. It happened on Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, and I filed the claim on Tuesday because the insurance company was closed on Monday.
And you got the check sometime in June.
I had no idea how much this violin would have appreciated. There was no reason for me to know or think that it would have appreciated that much or how much. You have to pay to go get an insurance letter.
Just a second. It's all correct. And if you had an expert witness to testify as to the value of the violin, not somebody that gives you an appraisal. Somebody gives you an appraisal on a diamond for insurance purposes. That doesn't necessarily say what the diamond is worth. Do you understand? If somebody gives you an appraisal on something, sometimes it can be a little more, sometimes it can be a little less, depending upon what you ask for. So what I'm suggesting to you is you had no idea that it appreciated that much in value. And if that's the basis of your claim, that this violin appreciated and is now a Picasso, and while I paid $100,000, now it's worth $1 million, you need an expert.
I have the...
You're not an expert. No, a piece of paper isn't an expert.
Well, this would be sufficient for the insurance company.
But it's not sufficient for me.
Okay.
An insurance company may call your appraiser and say, on what do you base that?
I had to provide this to the insurance company.
They paid you the maximum of your policy. They said, all right, you know, she's been paying for 20 years. It was damaged. We'll give her what the value is. Just for my own curiosity. Does that thing still work?
No, that's what it says in the letter. The letter...
No, don't tell me what the letter says. You can't tell me what the letter says.
It's damaged beyond repair, and no, it is not playable.
That's the answer. It's not playable. Okay. Now, do you want to continue with this action, Miss Beard, against the defendant? Because if you do, it would be unfair of me to dismiss this case with prejudice if you want to get an appraiser. And you come from what state?
Pennsylvania.
From Pennsylvania. If you want to continue this action in the state of Pennsylvania, I'll be more than happy to dismiss it without prejudice so that you can refile in the state of Pennsylvania and get yourself an appraiser.
I have the appraisal.
Appraiser!
Oh, an appraiser. Okay.
An expert. What's your pleasure? I can either dismiss it because you can refile in the state of Pennsylvania.
I guess without prejudice.
Good.
Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. We're not going to dismiss this without prejudice. I haven't said two words yet.
You handled that real well. Parties are excused when they step out.
We were performing in a band gig.
What happened is I actually had a medical issue.
And he had too much to drink.
That was confirmed by my doctor at the hospital.
I saw him swerve a little bit, and then...
A single pull episode where my blood pressure dropped, which caused me to pass out.
All of a sudden, he fell completely over.
The next day, they said, oh, you damaged the violin. So I don't even know if I did damage the violin or I didn't damage the violin.
And destroyed my violin.
I kind of feel bad for her. I'm just a little ticked at the way she went about handling the whole situation.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Thorne versus Moss Satterfield. Step forward.
Patrick Thorne is suing his ex-sister-in-law, Lindsay Moss, and her brother, Cody Satterfield, for loans to pay an outstanding utility bill and to buy a motorcycle.
Mr. Thorne, this is your former sister-in-law, and that's your former brother-in-law.
Yes, Your Honor.
You were married to their sister.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it is your claim that there are two.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this your former wife?
Yes.
And this is your current girlfriend?
Yes, Your Honor.
Interesting. Do you and your ex-wife have any children?
Yes, Your Honor.
How many?
4 children.
Okay. It is your claim that these loans were made during the course of your marriage. Is that right?
We were married, but we were separated.
Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You answered yes. So at the time that Mr. Thorne gave you money, he was not living with your sister?
No, he had left, her and the children.
In what month was it that he gave you money?
May of 2018.
For what?
It was for an electric bill to help out my grandparents.
Did you call him on the phone, or did you go to see him?
See him in person.
And what did you say to him?
I asked him if he could help out my grandparents. He's been in our family for 13 years, and he did agree because he was a part of the family.
How much money did he give you?
It was $1,500.
Did you pay him any of that money back?
Yes, I made three
How much?
payments. $300.
And Mr. Satterfield, when Mr. Thorne gave you money, was it before he and your sister separated or afterwards?
It was after.
What did you need money for?
To buy a motorcycle.
Well, that's not a need.
We were currently riding together, and we were still hanging out with each other, and I was riding his smaller bike at the time. I'm 29.
What do you mean you both agree that you need a bigger bike? If you needed a bigger bike, you buy a bigger bike. Why would he's got 4 children, buy you a bike?
He had the extra money at the time to help me out.
Does this man look like he's got 4 children, he's got a girlfriend, he's got an ex-wife? He doesn't have extra money.
He also has 2 motorcycles already, ma'am. I'm sorry.
So what? You're 29 years old. You want a bigger motorcycle, buy it. How much did he give you?
He gave me $1,900.
And how much did you pay him back?
I paid him back $250.
Your Honor, that's incorrect, $150. I also have receipts proving that.
I had paid him back extra, and he did not give me receipts for them.
You should have gotten receipts. So now I'm going to come to these questions. Why are we here today? Because now you have both acknowledged today that these were loans. They were loans that you did, in fact, start to pay back. And at some point, you stopped paying back the loans. So first I'm going to ask you, Ms. Moss, why did you stop paying back the loans?
Because in September, the house that my sister and her 4 children were living in, it needed repairs. And my brother and I spent a week repairing in September. I made a payment in June, July, and August. In September, the house needed repairs.
Which house needed repairs?
The house my sister and her 4 children lived in. The house that was in his and my...
And you and your brother...
Yes.
Did the repairs on the house?
Yes.
Well, did you and Mr. Thorne have a discussion that you wanted to barter the remaining balance of your loan for work that you did on your sister's house?
At the time, he was not speaking to me.
Well, then, you have to understand, both of you, if that's, I assume, your defense as well. If that's your defense, it's not a defense. And I'm going to tell you why.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I somehow get the feeling that the dog would just like to say hello to the defendant. So this is the situation, Ms. Rakowski. Since she appears to be healthy and well taken care of, I think it's time that she had a permanent home.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Patrick Thorne says ex-sister-in-law Lindsay Moss and brother Cody Satterfield owe for 2 loans they stopped paying on.
You had a contract with Mr. Thorne. Your contract was he made a loan, you were going to make payments. If you try to modify that contract, and you can modify that contract, you have to have a discussion with the person who loaned you the money and say, listen, instead of paying you back a house where your kids are living that's in your name as well, and we would like to work off the balance of this in a barter. And then he would either say yes or no. But you can't do that unilaterally, which means just you, not both of you, unless you have an agreement. You can't do that.
I was still making my payments. I made the payment in June, July, and August. In September, he was not speaking to me because the relationship between him and my sister was sour. He cut off all...
What did that have to do with making your payments?
I had no way of making a payment to him.
So you didn't know where he lived?
I couldn't go to his house.
Just a second. You mail him a money order. You send him a check. That's not a reason.
I did not know his address.
Okay, well, now you know his address. You owe him $1,200. You owe me $1,850. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, we fixed the house. We put a lot of money and time and effort. It took us...
I moved into the house less than 2 months later.
A week to fix that house. We hauled off everything in that house.
I worked on the house for 9 days before I was able to move into it.
And then he moves in.
I literally had to take a pressure washer inside the house and pressure wash the walls.
Moves his girlfriend in, kicks my sister out. I mean...
I don't think that they did $2,900 worth of work to that inside of the house.
No, it is. It's hard to trust people.
No more loans at all.
In the matter of Valenzuela versus Rakowski, step forward.
Iris Valenzuela is suing her brother's fiancé, Cassandra Rakowski for vet bills and pet care costs.
Miss Valenzuela, I somehow get the feeling that the dog would just like to say hello to the defendant. Yeah. Why don't you put her down so she doesn't fall?
Run. No, not with Dad. Run over there.
Oh, just friendly.
She's very friendly. Yeah, she is.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I would not have taken her to the hospital. She would not have been in the condition to admit her to the hospital.
All the doctors found that the dog was sick. Who was taking all these drugs in your house?
None. Those aren't drugs in my home.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Iris Valenzuela says her brother's fiancée, Cassandra Rakowski, left a sick dog in her care. She is suing for vet bills and pet care costs.
Ms. Rakowski, this was your dog.
Correct.
And you've been unable to be a sort of homeless situation for the last almost year.
Correct.
And you're still not able to take the dog. You're still moving around. The plaintiffs with whom you left the dog about a year ago is requesting money for the dog's care. I assume you were friends. You knew each other.
Yes, we knew each other.
Is it your intention to keep the dog?
No, it is, yes.
Okay. She looks very healthy.
Thank you.
So this is the situation, Ms. Rakowski. Since you can't really take her, and since she appears to be healthy and well taken care of, I think it's time that she had a permanent home. You want her.
Yes.
And you want her to be yours.
Yes.
And you've treated her as if she were yours.
Yes.
Well, then Miss Rakowski's not going to give you any money.
But if she was to give me a healthy dog to take care of, I wouldn't have to do, or Jesse wouldn't have to gone through all this. We went through a lot together.
In the beginning?
Yes.
Since then, you've had no trouble with the dog?
Since after she got sick, no, I haven't.
Since then? And that was within the first week or so that the dog was with you?
Yes. It took her about 2 months to get better.
Okay, and you had a vet bill?
Yes.
How much was the vet bill? How old is the dog, Miss Rakowski?
She is 5 years old.
Is that a bill that you're showing me?
Yes, they're all on the top.
Vet.
They're stapled
Just
together.
show me the vet bill.
There's 3 different ones, Your Honor.
Okay,
Is
I'll
that
take
okay?
a look at it.
It's from the ER.
When you first asked the plaintiff to foster your dog, did you have intention of getting her at some point?
I did.
And so you understand that if it was your plan to get her, her vet bills, I'm not talking about food, I'm not talking about any other care, but the immediate vet bills that she had for the dog would have been your responsibility, unless you wouldn't have taken the dog to the vet and you would have let the dog die.
So I would not have taken her to the hospital. She would not have been in the condition to admit her to the hospital for any reason.
Well, all the doctors found that the dog was sick. Who was taking all these drugs in your house?
None. Those aren't drugs in my home.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
On what date in August did you bring her the dog?
She picked up Chassie from my apartment with 2 police officers on the evening of the 14th, around 10:30-ish p.m.
She picked her up on the 14th?
Correct.
She took her on the 15th at the emergency room at the vet. She was sick. That didn't happen overnight.
It was late at night. I took her.
You're responsible for these bills. 1446. Judgment for the plaintiff. The dog is yours.
Thank you.
That's all. We're done.
All you guys see is you can step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You said it needs oil.
I asked her before I left if I put oil in the car, could I take it?
Well, why do you think the car broke down?
She didn't put oil in the right spot. She put oil in the transmission.
Judge Judy.
She had a lot of drugs in her system.
No, there was not.
Methamphetamine, cocaine.
There was not any drugs.
THC and antidepressants.
It is wrong. A false accusation.
Oh, I'm really happy. I get to keep Chassie.
I just want the best care for our family dog, Chassie.
I really love her.
And I'm thankful that she is and will be in good care.
That's the only thing that matters. She's with us.
after her friend grabbed her keys.
You said the check engine light is on. It needs oil.
I asked her before I left, if I put oil in the car, could I take it?
It turned into a slippery situation.
I stopped at the gas station. I put the oil in there.
Put the oil in where?
In the car.
Well, why do you think the car broke down?
She didn't put oil in the right spot. She put oil in the transmission.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Ramona Clark is suing her former friend, Casey Waits, for damages and tow fees after Casey drove her car without permission and then put oil in the transmission fluid pipe.
Order. All rise. It's case number 107 on the calendar in the matter of Clark versus Waits.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Clark, defendant was a friend of yours. How long was she staying with you?
She actually was staying with me for about 6 months, but we've been friends prior for about 7, 8 years.
But she was living with you for 6 months?
Yes.
And in that 6-month period that she lived with you, did she own her own vehicle?
She did, but she wrecked her car. It was totaled out.
How much into her living with you? A month, 2 months, 3 months?
Probably about 5 months when she was living with me.
So she didn't have a car for a month?
Yes.
And it's your claim that she stole your car in the middle of the night?
Yes, Your Honor.
Waits, drive your car in the month that she didn't have a car?
She didn't drive my car.
So you're telling me she never drove your car until the evening when it broke down?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
When did your car start to have trouble?
Well, I say a week before that, my check engine light came on. And I took it to my family mechanic, and he told me it was an O2 sensor that cost $10. And the day she took my car, I was taking it the next day to get fixed. So I told her that I wasn't driving my car until it got fixed. But he said it was just an O2 sensor that, something about with the air cabin or something like that. It was nothing with my transmission or anything.
Now, the evening she took the car, she says she took the car because she had an emergency. Do you know the nature of that emergency?
No, she took it while I was sleeping.
Well, now you know the nature of the emergency.
Yes.
Well, what was the nature of the emergency?
She said something like her family member was stranded in Lincoln, out of town somewhere.
Okay. Now you know that Miss Waits had a problem with a family member that she had to get on the night of this, which was December 21st of 2018. And you know who the family member was?
Yes.
It was her niece, who was in a situation that she thought might be dangerous.
I wouldn't say dangerous.
What would you say?
I just say that I think her family member went down there with some friends and was ready to come back home.
Now, what you say are, and she put fluid in the wrong place.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, the defendant says that she asked you if she could use the car. She had this problem, and it was during the night. And you said the check engine light is on. It needs oil. Now, it got me to thinking when I was reading your complaint, if I'm having a family emergency, and you say you were sleeping, so it was late at night.
Yes.
Why would I stop at a gas station unless the owner of the car told me that it needed a fluid? If I was called in the middle of the night and I say, gee, can I borrow your car? I would get in the car and go to where the family member was having an emergency. I wouldn't go and find a gas station first to put oil in the car.
Yeah, I never told her that the car needed oil at all.
Is that true?
She didn't tell me that night, but we talked about it.
I don't understand that. That's not what you said in your answer.
Yeah, she did. She told me that. That's what I'm saying. She told me that that's why the car she wasn't driving it because it needed oil. And when I asked her that night, she said when we were talking prior, before we even got to the house, she was saying, well, you know the car needs oil.
Your Honor.
So I asked her.
Just a second.
I asked her before I left if I put oil in the car, could I take it?
What time was that when you asked her?
A little after 11.
Where were you living on January 4th of 2009 with your aunt?
After the car situation.
That was on December?
December 1st, around Christmas.
What?
December 1st, around Christmas, yeah.
No, it wasn't on December 1st.
It was around Christmas?
It was around Christmas. That's not December 1st.
Yeah.
When did you move back with your aunt?
In January, I believe.
You want to show me something, Miss Clark?
Yes,
I'd like to see what you want to show me.
I have evidence of, I never told her that the car needed oil. I go get, every 3 months I go get an oil change. I have paperwork of that. And then I have text messages from her.
Why do you think the car broke down? The car broke down when she was driving it. She was a friend of yours. You never reported this car stolen to the police.
Because I told her...
Just a second. Okay. You never reported the car stolen to the police. Why do you think the car broke down? Because she has to be responsible for that. If she did something that caused the car to break down, whether she took the car with or without your permission, the car broke down. She has to have some sort of negligence involved in her driving the car.
She did. They said...
No, you can't tell me what they said. What they said is hearsay, unless you have a mechanic here. Are you a mechanic?
Yes.
You're a mechanic? Mm-hmm. Stand up.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Shh. Tell me your name.
My name is Tamara McCaleb.
Who do you work for?
I work for Branson Mechanic Shop.
Did you examine this car?
I've been working there for 5 years.
What do you do there?
I'm an assistant.
Assistant what?
I go and get cars, check them out for my husband.
Is that his company?
Yes.
Where did you do your mechanics training?
I'm just an assistant, so he just tells me.
Sit down.
Okay.
This is not happening for you. Where's the car?
It's at Emco Transmission.
And when did it go there?
January 4th.
And it's still there?
Yes, because the transmission cost $3,000 to get fixed. And the defendant says that she was going to pay for it when she got her taxes.
If she's responsible for it breaking down. What year car is this?
2007.
When did you purchase it?
February of 2018.
Who did you purchase it from?
It was a private dealer.
How much did you pay this person for the car?
$6,500.
How many miles does it have on it?
150,000.
Tell me what happened when you were driving the car.
I left from the house. I stopped at the gas station. I got gas. I got a quart of oil. I put the oil in there.
Put the oil in where?
In the car, where it says oil.
You got gas yourself, and then you went inside and got the oil.
Yes.
And you put the oil in.
Mm-hmm. I popped the hood, and I put the oil in.
And then?
And I left to go to Lincoln. I got on half hour to Lincoln, and the car started to smoke. It was smoking just a little bit at first, so I looked down to see if it was running hot, to see if that's why it was smoking. The gauge, it wasn't running hot. I'm like, okay, maybe it'll stop smoking. I drove it for another minute or two, and it still was smoking, and the smoke got thicker, and I pulled over and I cut the car off, and it was still smoking.
How long had you been in the car at that time?
About an hour, because I left from the house and then stopped at the gas station, and then...
How long a distance was it from her house to where you had to go?
40 miles, 30, 40 miles.
Now, you have to demonstrate to me that there was negligence on her part in the car breaking down. The car needs a new transmission.
Yeah, because she put oil in the transmission.
I don't know that.
She didn't put oil in the right spot.
Well, I don't know that.
Yeah, but she even admitted she put oil in it.
You just told me that you put oil where you were supposed to put the oil.
And then,
Listen.
Yes.
Listen, I'm really uncomfortable, so I think that you have to have a mechanic. That's not a mechanic. I really think that you have to have a mechanic. So I'm really uncomfortable about ruling on this case. So I think that you should take it back to your small claims court where you came from. Do you understand?
Yes.
Great. So I'm just not going to hear the case because I'm going to give you another chance to go before a judge where you come from, which is where?
Omaha.
Get a mechanic. That the reason that this car broke down is because she put oil in the wrong place. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. Very good. We're done. Thank you. Yeah.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't think that I'm responsible for paying for her car.
Casey, I made it to damaging my car.
Because I don't think that I did it.
On the interstate, stranded.
I just don't think so.
I had to get it towed.
Like, no more borrowing cars.
I'll see her in court.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Atkinson versus Green. Step forward.
Ashley Atkinson is suing her ex-girlfriend, 22-year-old Gabriella Green, for damaged and stolen property.
Miss Atkinson, you and the defendant were in a relationship for about 6 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And your lawsuit seeks two things. First, you allege that about 6 months before you broke up, the two of you were in an argument in your car.
No, ma'am. She was in an argument with her mother.
And during the course of that argument, you allege that your navigation system screen was broken.
Yes.
And you want her to pay for it because it was done during the course of the argument with her mother. It was done with her phone. And you made up after that argument.
Yes.
So I'm not interested in the navigation system. Courts don't deal with that. Two people live together, have a fight, they make up, when you break up 6 months later or a year later or 5 years later, boyfriend, husband, wife broke something 2 years ago and promised to pay for it and they never did. We don't have courts to do that. So we're going to move on to your next cause of action. Your next cause of action is for things that you allege that the defendant stole from your house that belonged to you after you broke up. That I'll hear.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
Now, where are the children now?
They're back with CPS.
Why did they go back to CPS?
Because she no longer was going to take care of them. All the incidents started because I asked her the amount of money because she was supposed to help me get paid for the children.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ashley Atkinson is suing her ex-girlfriend, 22-year-old Gabriella Green, for damaged and stolen property.
Now, the end of your relationship was on what date?
May 10th.
Is that when you left?
Yes.
On May 10th?
I tried to leave, yes.
You were living in your house? Mm-hmm. Not a That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
This is a talking program. You have visual and voice. When do you allege she came back to your house?
About 2 weeks later.
So sometime towards the end of it, you brought a locksmith with you?
Yes, I had a court order.
Do you have a copy of that order?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Oh.
Son, come back here. Hey, that's what I do.
Okay.
Thank you. Were you ever served with these papers?
No, ma'am. They were put in my mailbox. I was at work. And then when I came home, she had already entered the house.
No, I'm not talking about served with the writ of restitution. I'm talking about served with papers for a hearing.
No, they were put in my mailbox.
Did you see them?
No.
Why not?
I was at work.
Well, you can't be at work all the time. You have to come home from work.
I work. I'm a truck driver, ma'am. I work like 2-3 weeks at a time.
So you didn't see when the hearing was?
No.
That's why you didn't appear?
Yes.
I have messages where I told her we had court, and I have them on my phone. And she knows we had court.
She's been lying this whole time, Your Honor.
Now, just a second. It's not urgently important.
I have messages.
She has a writ of restitution. She said she had property in your house. Actually, it says that you're the lawful possessor, entitled to possession of the premises. Well, that's not true, Miss Green. This wasn't your premises. This was hers.
But I lived there for 6 months.
Just a second. I don't care if you lived there. So I don't know what you said to the court. In any event, she has a writ, so it is property. I'd like to see what property you said was in the premises.
I had my clothes, my laptop, my TV. I have it on my phone, but I would have to bring it up.
No.
What do you mean?
I don't want to see it in your phone. Okay. I want to see what you told the court, if you have it, that you had in the premises. Okay. What do you allege she took from the premises that belonged to you?
She stole my passport.
Hold on. Passport.
Yes, my passport.
Okay. Did you take her passport?
By accident, because it was in the drawer.
Did you return it to her?
I have it here.
Great. Bird, would you give it to her, please? Sure. Thank you.
Along with her...
Passport and what else?
Her charm.
Okay. Passport, charm. Very good. What else do you allege she took that belongs to you?
My jewelry.
No, jewelry is a big term. When I say
necklace
somebody took my jewelry.
Necklace and a bracelet.
Necklace and bracelet.
The bracelet she bought for my birthday, which my dad can tell her. She gave it to me in front of all my family.
Is that the bracelet that you're talking about?
Yes.
Well, then you don't get that back. That's a gift. And what about the necklace?
And then the necklace she just gave to me to wear, but I left it at home. I still have it.
You have it?
I do.
Okay. So you'll return it to her?
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
Her daughter came from Texas, and she was going to take over the children. She qualified and passed everything, but because her grandma's house where she was staying passed, like Department of Justice, we all passed.
Great.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ashley Atkinson is suing her ex-girlfriend, 22-year-old Gabriella Green, for damaged and stolen property.
Now, bracelet, necklace, passport you have, charm you have. What else?
I had to change my locks.
Forget it.
Okay.
She had a lawful order to go in with a locksmith.
Yep.
So you have your passport back, you have your charm. The bracelet was a gift to her. The necklace she is going to return within 5 days.
Okay.
What else?
That was it.
That was it? Good. You're done. Thank you very much. It's over. Move on. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We were in a fight about an argument, and then she grabbed the phone out my hand and hit the screen.
What do I look like breaking my own neck?
said that we were going to get a used screen for $200, and now that I broke up with her,
I mean, it sounds good, you know? That's what happens when you don't want to pay.
now she wants $4,000 from me.
Never believe anything that sounds too good to be true.
I will learn from my mistakes and move on with my life.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lopez versus Lozano. Step forward.
Maria Lopez is suing her former friend, Jennifer Lozano, for the return of the loan.
Oh, there's so much going on here. It's hard for me to even wrap my head around everything that's going on here. But I'm going to simplify it if I can. Miss Lopez, Miss Lozano dates when he's not in jail, your son, who is currently in jail. Before he went to jail, they used a car. You say it's your car. When he was going to jail, there was some issue that he may be able to get out on bail. Nobody had any money. So it was sort of agreed that there would be a title loan taken out on this car that you say is yours, that Miss Lozano says she and your now incarcerated son bought before he was arrested. Just so that we mix things in the pot a little bit, there had to be a time when you were all happy together because Miss Lozano has 2 grandchildren, the ages of whom are?
2 and 4 months now.
And they are the children of whom?
My daughter.
Who is not in the picture.
Right, no, she don't.
And those 2 children live with, raise your hand. Well, you both raised your hand, so that's interesting. Does the 2-year-old live with you?
No.
The 4-month-old lives with you?
Not anymore, no.
So they...
Baby girl was born November 17th. We received her November 20th from CPS.
She was born drug addicted?
That's what I was told, yes.
Okay, and?
And so I offered to take the babies in so they wouldn't go into a unknown foster care. And
what was she doing?
She was there. Our agreement was that she would help take care of the children. And so she did.
So she was living with you?
Yes, she was staying there.
Now, where are the children now?
They're back in CPS, with CPS.
Why did they go back to CPS?
Because she no longer was going to take care of them, so they took them back to CPS. All this incident started because I asked her the amount of money because she was supposed to help me get paid for the children. No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
The children were removed from your care?
No. Her daughter came from Texas, and she was going to take over the children. And
but they couldn't.
She qualified and passed everything, but because her mother's house, her grandma's house where she was staying, didn't qualify, they took the children. So they found them a new home.
Both children together?
Both children, yes. They were taken together
so they
to
have
the same home. Because nobody can pass, like Department of Justice. We all passed, but nobody else could.
Great. This is a 2000, what kind of car?
It's a 2000 Lexus GS 400.
And it's currently in her possession?
Yes, ma'am.
It's titled in your name?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll give you an order to go and get it.
Thank you.
Perfect. Now, once you get it, you can sell it and pay off the title loan that was used, at least initially, to get your son out of jail. Are we finished now? Perfect. I'm finished with this case. Thank you very much.
You didn't even hear me.
I don't care.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
An ugly breakup ends with a smash.
You reached into her car.
If she hadn't been lying about being pregnant.
If you kept your pants zipped, sir, you wouldn't have been in this kind of trouble.
Judge Judy.
Your guess is as good as mine because we got along, and once money issues were involved.
She got in a mood because we got in an argument, and she decided she just wanted to, because she had the car was in her name, she decided to take it. You know what I'm saying?
And the car has been in my name since 2015.
No, she never paid no money on it, never paid anything on that car.
As far as her marriage to County?
I've had that car, I have that car since my husband's been taken away.
There is no mention of the marriage?
Because, simple fact, because I guess I raised my voice to her. You know what I'm saying?
I won't be doing favors for nobody, I don't care who it is.
And she had the right to take the car because it's in her name. But it's okay, she has to tow it out of my house anyway, it doesn't work.
You reached into her car to get her phone.
Trying to pull it out of my hands.
An ugly breakup ends with a smash.
My foot is on the gas pedal. I veer away and I hit the wrought iron fence of my neighbor.
And her ex had a hand in it.
But for the fact that you reached into her car.
But for if she hadn't been lying about being pregnant.
If you kept your pants zipped, sir, you wouldn't have been in this kind of trouble.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Ashley Hamblin is suing her former lover, Jonathan Davis, for damages resulting from him causing her to crash her car.
Order. All rise. It's case number 157 on the calendar in the matter of Hamblin versus Davis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm going to tell you, I read these papers very carefully. And, you know, I believe that everyone is supposed to be responsible for incidents that they create. And it's an interesting case because Miss Hamblin says that the two of you were dating for a while, and on this particular evening, you had some words as you left her apartment. She subsequently got into her car, and she was in the driver's seat and driving. She says, however, that because of your actions, an accident was created in which both neighbors' property was damaged and her property was damaged. That's an unusual circumstance because usually the person who was at the wheel of a car is responsible. But I read this very carefully, and I want you, in your own words, to tell me what happened on June the 7th.
Okay, so on June the 7th, I was to pick her up from her place. She had told me that she was pregnant, and then she told me that she was going to terminate the pregnancy. I was there to pick her up, to take her back to my place, to take care of her through that process. I had been suspicious that she wasn't pregnant because she had never sent me a blood test. When I arrived, she told me that she had already taken the pill, which made me more suspicious.
Taken
the abortion pill.
Is that so? She was going to go back to your house?
Yeah.
So that you could care for her?
Right.
Okay.
So she told me that she'd already taken the pill, which aroused my suspicion further. And I said, can you show me any proof that you were ever pregnant? Can you show me a receipt? Can you show me the blood test? Can you show me the pill that it came in from Planned Parenthood? She refused. She said it was in the trash, and then she said the trash was in the dump. So I left her place confused as to what happened.
So you said, I'm leaving?
I'm leaving.
Well, she told you to leave?
I left.
Okay, go ahead.
Then I sat in my car. I was parked around the corner. I sat in my car, and I called a couple friends to walk through what had just happened, because I didn't understand it all the way through. I just didn't understand why she would lie about something like that. So just kind of emoting to my friends about what had gone on. I see her across the street get in her car, which surprised me. I just wasn't expecting to see her. And meanwhile, she's calling me from her car, telling me that she's never took the pill, and...
She called you and you answered the phone, or you just took a message?
She called me, answered the phone, and she told me that she did not take the pill, and she swore at me, told me she did not take the pill. She had been lying about...
Oh, shh. You'll have a turn in a minute. Go ahead.
That she did not take the pill, and that she had lied about taking some evidence that what she had been saying wasn't fabricated. So I walked across over to her car and said, can I see the pill? She said it was none of my business, and she refused to show me the pill. That's when her phone...
She's sitting in the car.
She's sitting in the car.
And you're talking through the window?
I'm talking through the window. The car is stopped.
So the window is down?
The window's rolled down. The car is stopped.
And you've been in the plaintiff's car before?
No, I've never been in her car.
Does your car have automatic windows, or does it have...
Automatic.
Okay, so now the window is down on her car.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Her phone beeps, and I reach in to take her phone to see...
That's where we're going to stop.
Yeah.
Her phone beeped. Where was her phone?
Her phone was in her lap.
So she had a phone in her lap, so you reached your hand into her car to get her phone.
Right, yes.
And?
And I wanted to see if there was some... And then she grabbed my wrists. I immediately let go of the phone. I put my hands up in the universal gesture of, I don't want to get in a fight. And I want to be clear, I didn't open the door. I didn't try to commandeer the steering wheel. And I watched as her car started to roll. The car had been stopped. Now the car's starting to roll. And I'm looking at her like, put your foot back on the brake. That's what I'm thinking. Then our car starts to drift. Plenty of time, just move the car back. Then she accelerates the car and plows through the yard of her neighbor across the street. I was not near the car.
Mr. Davis, the question that I'm going to listen to what the plaintiff tells me. In negligence, one of the questions that courts ask themselves is, but for the actions of Mr. Davis, would Miss Hamblin have had an accident that night with her car?
Right.
And so far, even based on the rather benign story that you tell me, I'm what we all do.
Right.
Fact finders, whether it's a jury or a judge. Fact finders put themselves in a situation of the other person.
Right.
Now, I'm in my car. I started my car.
Right.
And you know, the car was started because otherwise the window wouldn't be down.
Right.
So the car was started and her foot is on the brake. As you said, later, her foot was on the brake. Then you reach into the car so that you're really trespassing on her property by putting your hand into her car to lift out her phone. That causes, and it's already been an emotional evening, probably for both of you. Okay, Miss Hamlin, you tell me your version of the events.
He did come to my house. We had a disagreement.
About what?
About getting a certain medical procedure that he referenced earlier. I wasn't quite sure to make a definitive decision on that matter. He left. About 15 minutes transpired. I left my home, went into my car. My car was parked on the side street.
Where are you going?
Where was I going? To the store. I have a cat. I have cats. Get cat
She told me
food.
she was going to see a friend.
Anyways, get into my car. I roll down my window halfway to let the hot air out. I do have my phone in my lap. I am text messaging. I never called him, by the way. I did not know he was still in my neighborhood.
Of course not.
Yeah, 15 minutes had transpired. I didn't even know he was still there. So I'm firing off some text messages, just fiddling with my phone, because you can't do that while you're driving in California. Next thing you know, I look up and I see him bum rushing my car. My car is now in drive. It is in gear, and I'm starting to go out to veer out of my parking spot. And he's reaching into my car, trying to commandeer my phone violently, trying to pull it out of my hands.
Just a minute, was it in your hand or your lap?
It was in my lap first, and then he reached into my lap, and then we were struggling over it.
Okay, so the phone was in your lap when he walked over?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we were struggling over it. And meanwhile, my car I'm trying to ascend forward, get out of the situation, try to circumvent, try not to actually, and everything really happened so fast. My foot is on the gas pedal. I am in gear. I am trying to get away, and, you know, grabs my wrist, phone, I veer away, and I hit the wrought iron fence of my neighbor.
Okay, so your insurance covered that?
They did, the fence, yes.
And what about your car?
I had only liability, and so the damages, I have the estimate.
I'd like to see the
$1,531.46.
I'd like to see the estimates. Perfect. And photos of the car if you have them. Thank you. Did you need a new tire?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Davis, did you stick around after the accident?
Yes.
Were the police called?
Yes.
Is there a report?
Yes.
Can I see the report, please? Okay, the only thing that the police report said, and this is a paraphrase of what happened, says the victim was driving, witness, they refer to you as a witness, grabbed phone from her hand, causing, as I started to say, as I said a little bit earlier, but for your actions that day in waiting outside her apartment, whatever you were doing, if you were speaking to friends, but coming over to her car, even though it was not planned, and then trying to grab her property, even for the purposes of looking at it to see who she was talking to, see who was calling her, whatever it is. The whole evening was very disturbing for both of you, caused this accident. Yeah. That's what caused the accident. But for the fact that you went over, but for the fact that you went over to her car, reached into her car, which is A, illegal, and B, an aggressive action, reached into her car, that accident, the way it happened, would not have happened, but for your actions.
Can I just rebut that for a second?
Well, are we going to talk about it? Are we going to talk about the law of it?
The context, but for if she hadn't been lying about being pregnant.
Oh, you know, and if Adam hadn't taken that bite out of the apple, there's a certain cutoff point, you know. If you kept your pants zipped, sir, then you wouldn't have been in this kind of trouble. We're not going back that far.
Right.
We don't have to go back that far.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
what I'm telling you is, he's not going to pay your move because you're a grown-up person. If you don't like the apartment that you're living in, you move.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Ashley Hamblin says former lover Jonathan Davis caused her to crash her car when he tried to grab her phone.
Okay, we go back to the point where, but for your actions in going over to her car and aggressively trying to get her phone, this accident wouldn't have happened. And it's frustrating.
It's frustrating.
Much of what she wants, she's not going to, unfortunately, be able to get, but she is going to get the repairs for her car. She is going to get the repairs for her car, which were $1,530. That's totally reasonable because you actually caused that accident, even though you weren't involved, by driving. What? You're not going to get the increase in your insurance rates and the ding to your license. And it's not happening. Okay. $1,530. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
There was a lot more context to the accident and why it went down.
A crime was committed. Your emotions don't matter.
There was a lot more emotional ringer that she was putting me through.
You know, I'm not going to let somebody tell me what to do with my body. I'm sorry.
Keep my hands to myself on everything, including the phone on Tinder.
Don't ever go on Tinder. No one go on Tinder.
All parties in the matter of Pope versus Watkins. Step forward.
25-year-old Amber Pope is suing her former property manager, Vernon Watkins, for the return of rent and moving costs.
Ms. Pope, let me see if I understand this. You were renting a room in a house where there were 8 bedrooms, 4 up and 4 down?
That sounds about correct, Your Honor.
And you were renting initially from someone else other than the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
So you were living in that room starting when?
February 2nd of 2018.
And in your room, how many people were there?
So each room could fit up to 4 people. It's 2 bunk beds in each room.
Did you know who owned the house?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
But there was a leaseholder that evidently left, and Mr. Watkins became the leaseholder. You took over that lease.
Correct.
Yes.
In what year, sir?
That was April 8th of this year, 2019.
Just tell me, for my own curiosity, what kind of rent do you pay to be in a room with 3 other people in an 8-bedroom house?
Well, I paid $450 a month because before I came to that house, I was in transitional living.
And was there ever a time when there were 4 people in your room?
Yes, ma'am, unfortunately, yes.
Okay. Pay for this house a month in rent?
Per month?
Yes.
Well, it's a duplex. And we pay $5,800 per month.
Who's we?
My partner and I. We're a sole proprietorship.
Okay. So at any given time, let's say I'm taking her number of 4 rooms up, 4 rooms down. Each room can hold up to 4 people. You could actually make, if those rooms were full, $16,000 a month.
It's potentially yes.
Yes. Well, that's pretty good deal. So that's $10,000. Clear money for you.
Right, but we don't do that. We don't have all rooms full.
Okay. But you could potentially.
Potentially.
Potentially. I just wanted to know. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win this, Miss Pope, because you're probably not.
Okay.
Because once he took over the lease, you say you felt uncomfortable
Yes,
there.
ma'am.
He was letting different kinds of people in to live there, and you felt uncomfortable.
Yes, ma'am.
So you moved.
Yes, May 13th.
And you want him to pay for your moving expenses.
My prorated
and-
rent, moving costs,
just a sec.
deposit.
Yeah, well, so he's not going to pay for your moving costs. You didn't like the new landlord. You had no obligation to stay there. You can move. That's what grown-ups do.
Yes,
They
that's true, Your Honor.
move.
However, I was sexually harassed in the situation.
Listen to me. I read your papers.
Okay.
You were around in his underwear. You don't like it? Move. You don't like it? Move. So that's what you did. Now, did you pay May's rent?
Yes, ma'am.
Is not an answer. Yes, is an
ma'am,
answer.
I did.
Yes. Okay. And you lived there through May 13th.
Yes, ma'am.
You paid on the 1st of the month. When
Yes.
did you tell Mr. Watkins that you were moving?
I told him the week before I was moving.
Tell me about the conversation.
Well, basically, ma'am.
Not basically.
Sorry.
I just want you to tell me a week before you were moving, you said to him and he said to you.
So on May 6th, I told him I was going to be leaving because I felt sexually harassed by him.
Is that what you said? No, I don't even believe that.
Well, ma'am, I have
Miss
evidence
Pope.
here that he asked me to be a stripper.
And what did you say?
I said, no, of course not. He said, no, I insist, I insist. You have big breasts, thick thighs, big hips. Why not be a stripper? You can make some money.
And?
I have it right here.
I'm going to look at
Now, this evidence is a conversation between me and my housemate that we have about him asking us to be strippers. He said that he's...
Just a second. Is that conversation that you had with him or with somebody else who's not here?
Somebody else who's not here, unfortunately.
I don't believe that.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I take sexual harassment complaints very, very seriously. And when somebody uses them for a leg up in this kind of nonsense, I don't, the new landlord, you pick yourself up and you move.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Amber Pope says her former property manager, Vernon Watkins, owes for the return of rent and moving costs.
What I'm telling you is he's not going to pay your moving costs.
Why not,
He's
Your
not.
Honor?
Why not?
Yes.
Because you're a grown-up person. If you don't like the apartment that you're living in, you move.
Well, ma'am, in the height of
Just a sec.
Okay.
Don't argue with me.
Okay.
You know, I take sexual harassment complaints very, very seriously. And when somebody uses them for a leg up in this kind of nonsense, I don't buy it. I take it very, very seriously. If you didn't like the new landlord, you felt uncomfortable. He was bringing in people that you didn't like, that you didn't feel were as wholesome as the prior landlord, then you have the right to vote with your feet. You pick yourself up and you move. And if it's expensive, that's not his problem.
Well, ma'am, before he came in, I was very comfortable.
I don't care if you were very comfortable before. Now you weren't, so you move.
Yes, ma'am, but it's not that simple just to move in the height of gentrification in L.A.
That's not
I'm
his
a victim
fault.
of sexual abuse. He kept approaching me with inappropriate conversations. It triggered me psychologically, ma'am. That's the reason why I'm here.
Well,
I'm an educator.
He's not paying your moving expenses. You paid for May.
Yes.
You lived there in May.
Yes. I didn't stay to the end of May, ma'am.
I don't care.
Okay.
When you live in a place for part of a month, unless you have some sort of an agreement that you are living there on a daily basis, so you live in an apartment and you move out in the middle of the month, you pay for the month.
Okay.
You gave him a week's notice that you were moving out.
Well, not necessarily a week notice and a verbal, but I made it very clear, like, I don't want to live here anymore. So I decided to leave May 13th.
Then he said goodbye.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You gave him a week's notice that you were moving out.
Well, not necessarily a week notice and a verbal, but I made it very clear, like, I don't want to live here anymore. So I decided to leave May 13th.
Then he said goodbye, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's
but
right.
also, too, the fact that he purposely moved in a man dressed as a woman into my room to purposely make me uncomfortable.
You walk with your feet. You don't like the room anymore. You don't like the landlord. You don't like the roommate. Find another roommate.
But, ma'am, but what about him constantly coming into my room while I'm dressing fresh out the shower? My witness Tanya even witnessed that.
Just a second.
And, Your Honor, my witness Tanya, she witnessed him coming into my room as I'm getting dressed fresh out the shower, unannounced, no intention to show the room to new people, no intention to make any new changes to the room, no maintenance issues. I'm supposed to be comfortable with that?
May I respond?
Here, Tanya, you saw
Listen
it,
to me.
right?
Yes, I did.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
All right, you're excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Her payment was going to be the furniture from your storage unit.
I never agreed that they could have anything. I worked very hard. Can I interrupt?
No.
Judge Judy